Ultraman Cosmos Power, 85,000 coins. ___. He smirked. Not bad. If I get Ultraman Cosmos's power, I'll gain healing abilities and combat skills in one package. Plus, it's a prerequisite for legendary fusions. He was still mulling over his options when a familiar warmth wrapped around him from behind. Danasama, you look troubled. What's on your mind? Kia-him's voice was gentle as she hugged him. Satria leaned back into her embrace with a sigh. Just trying to figure out how to counter the evil pieces. She gently guided his head onto her lap, running her fingers through his hair. Take your time. You'll figure it out. He closed his eyes, enjoying her touch. Now I get why Kazuma loved Wiz's lap pillows so much. This is paradise. Satria's morning was the same as usual, a quick workout, a refreshing shower, and breakfast prepared by Kiyohime. Did you pack everything for school? She asked, handing him a neatly wrapped bento box. Her tone turned playful, but her smile was sharp. And don't even think about looking at other girls behind my back. Satria chuckled, leaning in to kiss her forehead. Yes, ma'am. You're like my wife and my mom rolled into one. Aira, she teased, but the warmth in her voice betrayed her affection. With a wave, he left the mansion and headed to school. Kua Academy. Class was as dull as ever. Satria stifled a yawn, barely resisting the urge to doze off. The clock ticked agonizingly slowly until, finally, the lunch bell rang. As students dispersed, a small group of girls immediately swarmed him. Shin-kun, have lunch with me today. No, eat with me. I brought extra food to share. Annoyed by the persistent group of girls crowding him, Satria waved them off dismissively, his hand motion sharp and cool, eerily reminiscent of Jotaro Kyujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Get out of my sight, woman. Instead of being insulted or offended, the girls swooned even harder, their eyes sparkling with admiration. Ah, Shin-kun is so mysterious and cool. Such a bad boy vibe. He's even hotter when he's annoyed. Punish this bad girl, daddy. Satria froze mid-step, his brow twitching as he heard their whispers. What the hell is wrong with the women in this world? He thought, utterly baffled. Instead of confronting the absurdity, he grabbed his bento and made a beeline for the rooftop. He needed peace, quiet, and most importantly, a break from whatever twisted logic governed this world's female population. As he reached the rooftop, he exhaled deeply, the cool breeze brushing against his face. It was a small reprieve, away from the chaos of admirers who seemed to interpret every move he made as charming or cool. Finally, some solitude, Satria said, leaning against the railing and staring at the sky. But deep down, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the last time he'd have to deal with such ridiculous situations. Good morning to afternoon everyone. Haha, enjoying the clear sky while accompanied by Kiyohime bento and iced coffee, even if the stomach cries, the important thing is to be happy, which God's favor are you denying? Mantub. Eats. Don't forget to sabat first to be healthy and happy. Lighting a cigarette, Satria leaned against the railing, exhaling a puff of smoke. 2 weeks in this world, he murmured. Still feels surreal. The door behind him creaked open, and he turned to see a petite, white-haired girl staring at him. You know smoking is against school rules, she said flatly. Satria smirked. Of all people, I didn't expect you to scold me. Where's Sana? I'm not here to enforce rules, Konako replied. Just giving a warning. He chuckled, extinguishing his cigarette and tossing it into the trash. Fair enough. Name's Shin. You. Konako Tajao. First year. What brings you here? Class is too noisy, she replied simply. I know your feelings. He nodded, opening his bento. Mind if I join you? Konako shrugged, and he took a seat beside her. Her eyes landed on his lunch. Your bento, it's cute. Want to try? He offered, holding up a piece of bunny-shaped rice. She hesitated before taking a bite. Her stoic expression softened. Delicious. Who made this? Someone important, he said, smiling. Without realizing it, he ended up feeding her the rest of his lunch. Thanks for the food, senpai. Yeah. He scratched his head, glancing at the empty box. Don't forget your dessert too. He gave her a chocolate bar. Konako accepted it happily. Fatalis, cheating already, partner? Planning to start a harem? Shut up. She just reminded me of my cat. Satria glanced at Konako, her stoic face and small stature only amplifying her feline charm. Something about her reminded him of a stray kitten, cute, reserved, and in dire need of affection. The thought popped into his head before he could stop it. She's so cute. I really want to pet her head. His fingers twitched involuntarily. And groom her like a pro, maybe scratch behind her ears while I'm at it. He was already imagining the satisfaction of hearing her purr when. What the duck am I doing? Satria's inner voice roared, snapping him out of his reverie. He physically recoiled, his hand pulling back as if it had been caught stealing. He shook his head vigorously, trying to dispel the absurdity. I'm not some weirdo lolicon furry. Get it together, man. But as his eyes drifted back to Konako, who was quietly nibbling on her snack with an innocent, almost oblivious air, the urge returned, stronger than before. No. Stop it. He clenched his fists, determined to resist. She's a person, not a kitten. Fatalist, oh. There's a suspicious person here, officer, please do something. Shut it, Fatalis, Satria muttered under his breath, determined not to fall victim to his own instincts. But as Konako glanced up at him, her expression unreadable, he couldn't help but think, just one head pat wouldn't hurt, right? Satria couldn't resist any longer. With a mix of hesitation and determination, he gently reached out and placed his hand on Konako's head, ruffling her soft white hair. At first, Konako's eyes widened in shock, her body stiffening as if she'd been caught off guard. But then, something unexpected happened. Konako felt an overwhelming warmth spread from his hand, a soothing sensation unlike anything she'd ever experienced. It wasn't just a pat, it was genuine affection. Not the empty, forced gestures she was used to, but something real and pure. Her stoic expression faltered, and her cheeks flushed slightly as she let herself relax under his touch. This feels different, she thought, her usual walls of emotional detachment crumbling. It's like, he actually cares. To her surprise, she couldn't resist leaning into his hand, her eyes half closing as a soft, involuntary purring escaped her lips. Satria froze for a moment, his brain short-circuiting. Did she just purr? Konako, realizing what she'd just done, immediately tensed but couldn't pull away. What is this feeling? Why can't I stop? It was as if this simple act of kindness filled a void she hadn't even realized was there. Satria, for his part, felt conflicted. On one hand, he was enjoying the moment, seeing her so relaxed and content stirred his inner cat lover. On the other hand, a part of him screamed, "What the hell are you doing, man? She's not a literal cat." Fatalis, well, partner. Looks like you've found her weakness. Congrats, you're officially her personal masseur now. Shut it, Fatalis. Satria snapped internally, though he couldn't stop his hand from gently continuing. Konako's voice broke the silence, soft and almost vulnerable. This is nice. Satria blinked, caught off guard by her quiet admission. It's like real affection, Konako murmured, her voice trembling slightly. Something I've never felt before. Her words hung in the air, raw and unguarded, making Satria's heart clench. For a moment, the rooftop was silent except for the breeze. Satria's hand paused, his usual cocky demeanor replaced with a rare sense of seriousness. "You deserve it," he said simply, his voice soft. "Everyone does." Konako glanced up at him, her golden eyes filled with a mixture of surprise and something else, a hint of trust she hadn't shown to anyone in a long time. Konako's lips curled into a small, blissful smile. As they returned to class, Konako glanced at him. "Meet me tomorrow, senpai. I want more head pats." Satria sighed, already dreading the teasing he'd get from Fatalis. To be continued. Chapter 19, Chapter 19. A Dance with Darkness and Flame. Satria Mansion. Kyoto, Japan. The clash of weapons echoed through the backyard, shattering the mansion's serene atmosphere. Kiyohime wielded her naginata with ferocious elegance, her strikes swift and relentless. Satria barely managed to defend himself, beads of sweat trickling down his face. "Fufufuso, who is this girl, Danasama?" Kiyohime taunted, her eyes gleaming with a mix of mischief and fury. "Damn it! For the last time, I just met her by chance. She reminded me of my cat. There's nothing between us." Satria parried another strike, his tone exasperated but defensive. "Ah, another tragedy. Will you betray me? Will you leave me?" she asked with a horrifyingly sweet smile, spinning her weapon dramatically. "Tell me, darling, who is this girl? You troublesome woman. How many times must I say it? I will never leave you, Haim. Now calm down." Satria desperately tried to de-escalate the situation, sidestepping her fierce blows. "Hehe, you asked me to teach you how to wield a weapon, didn't you? Let me teach you properly." Kiyohime laughed, unleashing a flurry of strikes. From the sidelines, the Black Dragon watched the spectacle with a hint of amusement. "Fatalis, told you. Now, good luck, brother." Later, after Kiyohime's lesson ended, Satria collapsed in his room. His entire body ached, evidence of Kiyohime's uncompromising training or punishment, depending on interpretation. "Damn that woman," he muttered. "I'd rather fight 2 Orochimarus than deal with her seriously. Fatalis, I warned you, wahahaha." "Shut up," Satria grumbled, reaching for his phone. With a weary sigh, he logged into the dimensional chat. ___ Dimensional chat log. Shin, P. Spider-Man, Shin. Perfect timing, I need your help. Shin, ho? What kind of help, Spidey? Spider-Man, it's about cross-species experiments. You know, like merging human DNA with animals. Kind of my thing, considering, well, you know. Shin, interesting. Go on. Spider-Man, you know, Gwen's been curious about Oscorp's projects too. We were thinking of checking it out together. Maybe a little field trip. What do you think? Shin, Gwen, hey? Good choice. Spider-Man, wait, why do you sound relieved? Shin, because it's not Mary Jane. Don't get me wrong, MJ's great, but Oscorp is practically a villain factory. Gwen's scientific mind might help you spot trouble before it bites. MJ would just end up as bait for the next goblin or whatever nightmare crawls out of there. Spider-Man, okay, ouch. But fair. Gwen's got a knack for science, it's part of why we get along so well. You think she'll be safe, though? Shin, oh, Peter, before I forget, there's something important you need to know about Oscorp. Spider-Man, Oscorp again? What now? Is this about Norman, or are there more goblins hiding in the lab? Shin, Norman is bad, yeah, but I'm talking about someone else. A guy named Alistair Smythe. Ever heard of him? Spider-Man, Smythe, sounds familiar. Shin, he's dangerous not just because of his tech, but because he's got a personal vendetta against you. You can't trust him, no matter how polite or helpful he seems. If you see him in Oscorp or sniffing around cross-species tech, stay on high alert. Spider-Man, great. Evil spirit, Shin, do you know someone named Mio Takamiya? Shin, Mio Takamiya? You're asking about her? Be careful what you wish for. Evil spirit, I don't care about her power. I need to get revenge for my friend. She's the one responsible for her death. Shin, hi? Your friend is still alive, emo girls. Evil spirit, what? Alive? How is that even possible? Shin, alive, but not in the way you think. You could still meet her, but it's not as simple as you might hope. Her name is Sawa, right? Evil spirit, where is she? How do I find her? Shin, patience. The timing isn't right. You can't just rush into this without understanding the bigger picture. Evil spirit, you know something useful, don't you? Something about me, something I've forgotten. Perhaps a piece of my past. Shin, who knows? But I have something that can satisfy your hunger for the truth, at an equivalent price. Evil spirit, what do you want from me? My power, my service, or... Shin, not like that you pervert. Kazuma-sama, are you stupid? Missing a golden opportunity like that? TSKCKCKCK. Pervert sage, I sensed a revelation. Evil spirits, shut up perverts or I'll kill you. Shin, chill, I think you need a vacation, emo girl, and I don't know what I want from you either, how about you surprise me? Evil spirit, oh, so you want me to impress you, do you? I do enjoy a challenge, very well, I'll make you a deal you can't resist. Shin, a deal? How original. But don't think for a second I'm easily swayed. I'm still waiting for you to show me something worth my time. Evil spirit, I'm sure you'll find it, eventually. But for now, maybe I'll offer you something else, something more personal. Shin, yeah, I know the drill. I'll deal with whatever comes next. Just, don't make it weird, okay? Now, I'm logging off. Time for sleep. Evil spirit, sleep? Running away, hey? Just don't forget I am always watching. After chatting, Satria heard a soft knock at his door. Kiyohime entered, dressed in cozy pajamas. Her expression was gentle, a stark contrast to the earlier chaos. Danasama. She murmured, wrapping her arms around him. What is it? Satria sulked, still sore from her attacks. Don't be mad, please, Kiyohime cooed. Are you still hurting? Would you like a massage? Satria hesitated but eventually relented. Humph, okay. Kiyohime's eyes sparkled. Hee, then relax, dear. She guided him onto the bed and began massaging his tense body. Ah, it hurts but feels good too. You're amazing at this, Kiyo, Satria admitted, a blissful smile spreading across his face. Kiyohime chuckled. It's my duty to pamper my husband, after all. The gentle rhythm of her hands lulled Satria into a peaceful slumber. Kiyohime smiled softly, leaning down to kiss his cheek. Good night, Danasama. Unknown house. Kyoto, Japan. Meanwhile, in a blood-stained room, Issei faced a deranged priest and a trembling blonde-haired nun. Hey, was it you who killed this guy? Issei asked, glaring at the bloody scene. Yes, it was me, the priest admitted, his grin twisted and maniacal. He made a pact with the devil. Scum like him deserve death. Issei clenched his fists. How can you kill another human? Aren't you supposed to go after the devil? The priest laughed mockingly. Humans who consort with devils are no better than the devils themselves. My job is to cleanse this filth from the earth. This is insane, Issei spat. Even devils wouldn't go this far. The priest's laughter grew louder. Oh, you naive little devil! Don't you see? Your kind are parasites, and I'm the exterminator. The priest drew a glowing blade and raised his gun. Die, devil! Turn to dust and disappear. Issei barely dodged the attack, but a searing pain shot through his leg. Gah! He cried, collapsing to the ground. Enjoy the pain. That's a bullet of light perfect for scum like you, the priest sneered. Please stop, a voice rang out. Issei turned to see Asia, her hands trembling as she stepped between them. What are you doing, Asia-tan? The priest growled. Father Fried, please, let him go, Asia pleaded, tears streaming down her face. Fried sneered. You're protecting this trash? A devil! There's good even among devils. Asia cried, standing her ground. Fried struck her, sending her sprawling to the side. Foolish girl! Stay out of my way! Summoning his remaining strength, Issei rose, ready to protect Asia. But before the priest could strike again, a magic circle flared to life. Kaiba! The blonde knight clashed with Fried, driving him back. Rias and her peerage appeared, their presence commanding. Issei, are you okay? Rias asked, her voice calm yet firm. I'm fine, Bucko, Issei replied, relief washing over him. With Rias's orders, her team teleported Issei to safety, leaving Fried fuming. As the magic enveloped him, Issei's thoughts lingered on Asia's smile, her bravery forever etched in his memory. To be continued. Chapter 20, Chapter 20. Across dimensions, the Great Beast Hunt. Kyoah Academy. Kyoah, Japan. Satria gazed out the classroom window, his eyes trailing over the serene schoolyard. Yet, his focus quickly shifted back to the room as his classmate, Shidou Issei, sat slumped at his desk, unusually quiet and introspective. That's rare, Satria thought. What's eating him? He's usually all about games, boobs, and nonsense. Curiosity got the better of him. Hey, Issei, you good? He asked, leaning closer. You look like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders. Issei lifted his head slightly, managing a small smile. Ah, Shin-san. I'm fine, just something on my mind. Satria raised an eyebrow. Come on, man. Out with it. Maybe I can help. Issei hesitated before sighing. All right, let me ask you something. What would you do if two groups had conflicting beliefs, and someone from one side wanted to help the other? But their leader forbade it. Should they follow the rules, or should they help? Satria blinked, taken aback. Where did that come from? A&D. Devil and Angel factions. Ah, this must be about Asia, he realized, recalling the innocent nun whose kindness cost her a place in the church. Well, Satria began thoughtfully, it depends. Are the people from the other side important to them? Issei's eyes softened. Yeah. She is. Then listen up, Satria said firmly. Rules exist for a reason, but if following them means abandoning someone you care about, then those rules aren't worth a damn. Help her. Issei's face lit up with a genuine smile. Thanks, Shin-san. You always know what to say. Anytime, Satria replied with a small nod. Satria's POV, rooftop break. The soft clink of the rooftop door brought Satria out of his reverie as he lit a cigarette. Senpai. He didn't need to turn around to recognize the voice. Oh, it's you, Konako. What's up? Didn't I tell you to stop smoking, she said, her usual deadpan expression intact. Feigning ignorance, Satria smirked. Did you? Must have slipped my mind. Konako wasted no time. She walked over, snatched the cigarette from his hand, and tossed it into the trash can. Hey! Satria protested. That's rude, you know. Without a hint of remorse, she plopped down beside him. It's unhealthy, she stated matter-of-factly, before climbing onto his lap. Now, pat me. Satria froze, baffled. What a demanding little, he stopped himself. Konako's adorable demeanor was impossible to resist. Fine, fine. You win, he muttered, running his hand gently through her hair. A soft purr escaped her lips as she leaned into his touch. You're spoiled, you know that, he teased, though his heart melted at her reaction. How is anyone allowed to be this cute? Konako tilted her head, her eyes half-lidded with contentment. More, senpai, she murmured. Ugh, fine. But don't expect this every time, he said, pulling out a snack from his pocket. Here. Want some? She nodded eagerly. Feed me. Satria sighed but complied. This girl's going to be the death of me, he thought as he handed her the snack. 3 hours later, the bell rang, signaling the end of another school day. Ha! Finally, this boring day is over, Satria muttered to himself, stretching as he left the classroom. As he walked through the town, his stomach growled. Deciding he needed something to eat, he headed to a nearby ramen shop he had discovered a while back. The shop had a welcoming atmosphere and an owner who was always open to special requests. Sliding into a seat, Satria greeted the owner, an older man with a kind smile. Ah, welcome back, Shin-kun. The usual. Yeah, please. Just no pork in the broth or toppings, Satria requested casually. The owner nodded without question. Satria had once explained he had an allergy to pork, an easy alibi to avoid diving into the intricacies of his faith. The owner, understanding and accommodating, respected his preference without prying. Moments later, a steaming bowl of ramen was placed before him. The rich aroma wafted through the air, making his stomach rumble louder. Here you go, Shin-kun. Special chicken ramen, just the way you like it, the owner said with a grin. Satria offered a small smile. Thanks, Ajizan. It looks great. Digging in, he let out a contented sigh. The broth was savory, the noodles perfectly cooked, and the peace of the quiet shop made the meal all the more enjoyable. This place really is a hidden gem, he thought, savoring each bite. It was one of the few spots where he could relax and enjoy good food without complications. Then suddenly hear a notification from the group chat. __. Ding. Group quest active. Objective: defeat the great beast Shigeru Magala in the Ice Sadist world. Participants required, 2. Note: time will pause in participants' worlds during the quest. Ice Sadist, interesting. This could be a good challenge. Shin, I'm in. I've been meaning to test my limits anyway. Spider-Man, can I join? I'm curious if this group chat and its missions are actually real. Shin, you sure about this? It won't be like your usual street fights. Spider-Man, yeah, I need an adventure. It's been too quiet lately. 2 halves participants selected. Pervert Sage, a great beast? You know anything about this enemy, at Ice? Ice Sadist, not much. Just rumors of a massive, destructive creature. My soldiers and I are investigating anomalies near the Empire's borders. Shin, what kind of anomalies? Ice Sadist, villages wiped off the map. Survivors talk about a monster unlike anything they've seen before. The Empire is eager to capture or control it. Shin, figures. They're probably planning something shady as usual. Ice Sadist, the Empire's motives are irrelevant to me. All I care about is facing a strong opponent. Participant slots full, preparing to transfer participants to at Ice Sadist world. The blinding light of the dimensional transfer faded, revealing a dense forest filled with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant wildlife. Satria glanced around, assessing his surroundings. Beside him stood a man clad in a red and blue spider-themed suit. Are you Shin? The man asked, his tone laced with curiosity. Yeah, that's me, Satria confirmed, scanning the man up and down. You must be Peter Parker, right? That's right, Peter said, adjusting the mask on his face. So, where do we go from here? Satria turned his head to the right, spotting a flicker of light through the trees. Squinting, he could make out what seemed to be a camp bustling with soldiers. Over there, Satria said, pointing. But stay put for a moment. Let me contact our host. He opened up the group chat interface, swiftly typing a message. _ Shin, we're here, at ICE uploading our location now. Shin uploads an image of the forest and distant campfire light. ICE sadist, that's close to my camp. Wait there, I'll come to you. Closing the chat, Satria turned back to Peter. Okay, Spy Day, Satria began, folding his arms. Since you've never been to another world, let me give you a heads up. Peter tilted his head, curious. Heads up about what? Common sense here isn't like your world. People die here often brutally and no one bats an eye. The weak are preyed upon, and strength rules everything. Don't freak out if you see something unpleasant, Satria warned, his tone grim. Peter stiffened. Seriously? That bad? It's worse than bad, Satria replied. Think medieval times, but throw in magic, monsters, and politics more corrupt than you can imagine. Also, our host, Esteth, isn't exactly a saint. She's a tyrant, but a damn good leader. Just don't get on her bad side. If you see something troubling, come to me first. No rash decisions, got it? Peter nodded hesitantly, the gravity of the situation sinking in. Got it. But honestly, maybe I shouldn't have come here. Satria smirked. Well, it's a bit late for second thoughts, isn't it? Before Peter could reply, the sound of approaching footsteps caught their attention. Emerging from the tree line was a striking woman clad in an ice blue uniform, flanked by soldiers dressed in imperial armor. Her piercing blue eyes scanned the two newcomers. Who are they, General Esteth? One of the soldiers asked warily. Esteth's gaze lingered on Satria before moving to Peter. They are my allies, she said confidently. They've come to assist us in defeating the great beast. The soldiers exchanged surprised looks but didn't dare question her. Esteth stepped closer, her commanding presence making Peter take a half step back instinctively. Welcome to my world, Shin, she said, her icy tone carrying a hint of respect. Her eyes flicked to Peter. And you must be the Spider-Man. Peter cleared his throat nervously. Yeah. That's me. Nice to meet you, General. Esteth smirked, amused by his timid demeanor. A pleasure. I hope you're ready. The Shigeru Magala is no ordinary beast. Peter leaned toward Satria and whispered, she's intense. Satria suppressed a chuckle. You'll get used to it. Maybe. Esteth turned to her soldiers. Prepare the camp. We march at dawn to track the beast. Shin, Spider-Man, you'll both join my command tent for the briefing. This hunt will require precision and teamwork. Understood. Why yeah, got it, Peter added, still uneasy. Esteth gave a sharp nod and strode back toward the camp, her soldiers falling into formation behind her. Satria glanced at Peter, smirking. Welcome to adventure, Spy Day. Try to keep up. Peter sighed, shaking his head. This is gonna be one heck of a story, isn't it? Always is, Satria replied, leading the way toward the camp. To be continued. Chapter 21, Chapter 21. Dark Platinum Chronicles. Unknown Forest, Austrasia Empire. In the dead of night, beneath a canopy of ancient trees in the Austrasia Empire, a flickering campfire illuminated the faces of three unlikely heroes: Satria, Esteth, and Peter Parker. The air was heavy with tension as they awaited the scouting team's report on the mysterious beast that had thrown the region into chaos. Around the fire, the soldiers of Esteth's army exchanged banter, their voices carrying over the crackling flames. Peter Parker, clad in his iconic red and blue suit, stood out like a sore thumb amidst the rugged warriors. Fatalis, these people remind me of the foolish humans from my world, arrogant, greedy, and cruel. Hey, Fatalis, what do you think of humans? The black dragon voice echoed in his mind, sharp and disdainful. Fatalis, I hate them more than anything. Selfish, arrogant creatures. Once, I crushed an entire kingdom in a single night. By dawn, there was nothing left but ashes and silence. Satria scratched his head awkwardly. You do realize I'm human too, right? And why you do that? Fatalis, it was their fault. Imagine this: I was in the middle of a good dream, peacefully resting in my nest, when those fools decided to attack me. For what? Their pride? Their petty ambitions? Their so-called honor? They dared disturb me, thinking they could hunt a dragon for their benefit, and you're different, annoyingly different. Satria raised an eyebrow, trying not to laugh. So basically, you're telling me they woke you up, and you went full apocalyptic rage mode. Fatalis, it wasn't just waking me up, Satria. They came with weapons, armies, and siege machines. They stormed my lair as if I were some beast to be conquered. I gave them a chance to retreat, but no, they had to push their luck. I merely responded in kind. Satria leaned back, smirking. Wow, Fatalis. For a dragon of ultimate destruction, you sure take getting woken up very personally. Fatalis, don't mock me, human. You wouldn't like being ambushed in the middle of your sleep either. He chuckled. True. But, for the record, you still sound a little dramatic about the whole thing. Maybe try sleeping with earplugs next time. Fatalis, you're lucky I tolerate you, puppy. Don't call me a puppy, you stupid neat dragon, he muttered with a frown, glancing at Peter, who was shifting nervously under the jeers of the mocking soldiers. Hey, kid, one soldier sneered. What's with that silly costume? You a circus performer or something? Another chimed in, laughing boisterously. Why don't you run back to your mama? This isn't a playground for brats. Peter stammered, unsure how to respond. The taunts grew louder, but before he could muster a reply, Esteth's icy voice cut through the commotion. Silence, you imbeciles! Her glare froze the air around her. Leave him alone! The soldiers immediately paled, bowing their heads in shame. Yes, Esteth-sama. Our apologies. They scrambled away, mumbling apologies. Peter let out a breath of relief. Thank you, Esteth-san. She nodded curtly, her gaze softening as she turned back to the fire. Satria took a drag from his cigarette and exhaled slowly. If you hadn't stopped them, I would have taught those fools some manners myself. I'll deal with them later, Esteth replied, her tone dangerous enough to make the offending soldiers shudder from afar. Changing the subject, Satria looked at her. So, what's the situation? Any intel on this beast? Esteth folded her arms, her expression serious. The scouts say it's enormous, with impenetrable skin, wings, and the ability to breathe a deadly black energy. That's not much to go on, Satria muttered, frowning. But it's a start. We'll figure the rest out tomorrow. For now, get some rest, Spy Day. You and I are training in the morning. Peter's eyes widened. Tea training? He wasn't expecting that. Satria nodded. You've got strength and potential, but right now, you're wasting both. I'll teach you how to use what you've got. Peter hesitated, then nodded. Okay. You're really something, Shin. You feel way more mature than me. Satria laughed. I'm just 16, you know. What? You're younger than me. Peter's jaw dropped. Esteth smirked, leaning closer to Satria with a mischievous glint in her eyes. What an interesting young man you are. Satria quickly raised a hand, leaning back slightly to create some distance. Stop. I'm taken. She chuckled, her smirk growing wider. If you weren't already taken, I might just make my move. Fatalis, another one, brother. Absolutely not, Satria replied internally, shuddering. Let's call it a night, spy day, Satria said, standing. Good night, Esteth. Good night, Shin, Esteth replied. The sun rose over the dense forest, casting dappled light onto the makeshift sparring ground. Satria stood barefoot, his posture calm but intimidating. Across from him, Peter Parker was already sweating, unsure of what to expect. All right, spy day, no webs, no tricks, just hand to hand. I'll go easy on you. Satria cracked his neck and adjusted his stance, taking a low, grounded position. Okay. Peter hesitated but took a defensive stance, trying to focus. Why do I feel like easy means painful with you? Satria smirked. Let's see if your spider sense can handle this. In an instant, he darted forward, his movements fluid yet explosive, a blur of ancient Silat techniques. His strikes were calculated, aiming for weak points, the ribs, the thighs, the neck. Peter barely managed to dodge, his spider sense blaring like an alarm. But then, something changed. With a snap of his fingers, the air around him rippled, and a towering figure materialized behind him. Its appearance was striking. Jet black armor adorned its muscular form, sleek and menacing like a dark knight. Glowing crimson accents pulsed across its chest and limbs, and its faceplate bore sharp, angular features akin to a dragon. Satria stand called St. Dark Platinum he bought recently in Dimensional Chat Shop has materialized, his fist raised. What the Peter gasped, ducking instinctively as the stand's fist shot toward him. He couldn't see it clearly, but his spider sense screamed at him to move. Satria's eyes widened for a moment, impressed. Hey! You can sense Dark Platinum? Interesting. Most people can't even tell he's there. Peter didn't respond, too busy reacting to the barrage of attacks coming from both Satria and his stand. Dark Platinum's strikes were invisible to him, but his instincts guided him, barely keeping him in one piece. You're good, Spy Day, Satria admitted, stepping back for a moment. But instincts alone won't save you. He shifted his approach, his strategic mind kicking into gear. As one of the top offlaners in the world, Satria wasn't just a fighter, he was a tactician. He began baiting Peter, setting traps with feints and misdirection. Dark Platinum moved to strike from the side while Satria went low, sweeping Peter's legs. Peter flipped backward, narrowly avoiding both attacks, but it was clear he was struggling to keep up. Man, you're like two fighters in one. Peter panted, wiping sweat from his brow. Satria smirked. And you're still holding back. Come on, Spy Day. Show me what you've got. Peter took a deep breath, his stance shifting as he tried to focus. All right, big guy. You asked for it. The sparring intensified, with Satria pressing harder, seamlessly blending his Silat techniques with Star Platinum's power. It was a storm of precision and overwhelming force, but Peter's spider sense kept him dancing on the edge, avoiding defeat by the thinnest margins. Still, Satria's tactical brilliance began to show. He predicted Peter's movements, landing strikes that disrupted his rhythm and wore him down. Finally, with a perfectly timed maneuver, Dark Platinum struck from above, forcing Peter into a vulnerable position. Gotcha, Satria said, his hand stopping just short of Peter's chest. Peter froze, panting heavily, before slumping to the ground. Okay, you win. Geez, you're a monster, Shin. Satria chuckled, extending a hand to help him up. Not bad, Spy Day. Your instincts are sharp, but you need to learn how to think ahead. Reacting isn't enough, you've got to outsmart your opponent. Peter nodded, still catching his breath. Yeah, I noticed. It's like fighting a chess master with fists. Exactly, Satria said with a grin. Now, let's grab breakfast. You've earned it. Back at camp, the air was buzzing with activity as Asthetha's soldiers prepared for battle. 2 scouts stumbled into the clearing, their bodies battered and bloodied. Asteth stepped forward, her gaze sharp. Report. The soldier saluted weakly. The beast is immense. Our weapons couldn't penetrate its golden hide. It breathes a deadly energy that kills on contact. Satria exchanged a glance with Asteth. Sounds like a tough one. Where is it now? Asteth asked. At the peak of the mountain, resting in a cave, the scout replied before collapsing. Take him to the medic, Asteth ordered. Turning to her army, she raised her voice. Attention, soldiers! The camp fell silent as every warrior stood at attention. This is our chance to achieve glory. If anyone wishes to retreat, speak now. Her words were met with silence. Good. Then prepare for battle. Whoever slays this beast will earn the Emperor's favor. For the Empire! Long live General Asteth, the soldiers roared in unison. Peter looked on, wide-eyed. She's incredible, he murmured. Satria smirked. She knows how to inspire. Asteth turned to them, her eyes gleaming. The hunt begins. To be continued. Chapter 22, Chapter 22. The Bright Eclipse. Unknown Cave, Austrasia Empire. The forest air hung heavy with an eerie silence as Satria, Asteth, and their group approached the cave's entrance. Corpses of soldiers littered the ground, their lifeless forms grotesquely mangled. Severed limbs, torn torsos, and viscera spilled across the rocky terrain. The metallic tang of blood mixed with the rancid stench of decay, making the air almost unbearable. Peter Parker, unaccustomed to such horrifying sights, clutched his stomach. His face turned pale before he doubled over, retching violently. Ugh! Peter groaned, wiping his mouth as his body trembled. Hey, man, you okay? A soldier asked, giving Peter a wary glance. Another soldier, older and more grizzled, shook his head. This guy's new to this. You can tell he's not a soldier. If you can't handle this, kid, turn back now, the grizzled soldier added, his tone sharp. Out here, a weak stomach can get you killed or worse, us. Satria stepped forward, his expression soft with concern. Peter, are you all right? Peter tried to steady himself but avoided looking at the carnage again. I'm sorry, Shin. This is just, too much. I've never seen anything like this before. Fatalis's voice resonated in Satria's mind, calm but firm. Fatalis, this is normal for someone like him, partner. His world isn't drenched in blood like yours. True, Satria agreed internally. If anything, I'm surprised he hasn't fainted. As Satria steadied Peter with a reassuring hand, his mind drifted to a memory, a formative moment in his life that shaped who he was today. Flashback. The trip began under the guise of a father-son bonding experience, but Satria quickly sensed this wasn't an ordinary holiday. The terrain grew harsher as they ventured deeper into the isolated region, where cities were dilapidated and devoid of hope. This place, brat, his father had said as they approached their destination, is where law and order mean nothing. There are no rules here, no justice, only power. I'm bringing you here not for fun, but for a lesson. The city they stopped at was bleak, a shadow of its former self. Buildings were barely standing, and the few residents moved like specters, their faces hollow from years of living under oppression. There were no smiles, no laughter, only the heavy weight of survival. Why are we here, old man? Satria asked, his voice tinged with unease. To show you the other side of the world, his father replied, his tone firm. The side no one talks about in textbooks. The side you'll need to understand if you want to avoid making the wrong decisions in life. That night, Satria's father led him to a small gathering of locals. They sat in the dim glow of a flickering oil lamp, discussing the region's plight. It was a land where unlawful ruled with absolute power, enforcing their will through fear and violence. Here, the laws of humanity were meaningless. One resident, an elderly man with sunken eyes, explained the reality of their existence. Here, a man with a weapon and money is a judge, jury, and executioner. Those without power are nothing more than dust. Satria listened, his stomach churning with a mix of anger and helplessness. He had never imagined such a place could exist, where human lives were treated as commodities, and justice was a distant dream. His father's voice broke through his thoughts. Do you see, brat? The world is not only sunshine and rainbows. There are places like this, where life is cheap, and survival is the only law. If you ever want to make a difference, you must understand this truth. Ignorance will only lead to mistakes. Their lesson took a violent turn when the sound of motorcycles echoed through the town. Unlawful enforcers had arrived, demanding their usual tributes: food, valuables, and even people. Satria's heart pounded as he saw the residents cower, their eyes filled with dread. This is their world, his father said, his voice calm but sharp. But today, we'll show them it doesn't have to be. Satria's father, flanked by a handful of soldiers, confronted the enforcers. What followed was a tense standoff that erupted into a brief but brutal skirmish. Satria watched from the shadows, his heart racing as his father and his friends pushed back the enforcers with precision and strength. When the dust settled, the enforcers had fled, but the victory was bittersweet. The residents were grateful but terrified of the retaliation that would surely come. What now? Satria asked his father as they packed up to leave the next day. We gave them a moment of courage, his father replied, his expression unreadable. But it's up to them to decide if they'll let it grow into something more. Remember, brat, the world is not fair, and you can't fix everything. But sometimes, just standing your ground can make a difference. Flashback end. As the smell of death and the oppressive atmosphere of the cave pressed down on him, Satria drew strength from that memory. His father's words echoed in his mind, the world isn't just sunshine and rainbows, but it's your choices that define the kind of man you'll become. Turning to Peter, who was still struggling to regain his composure, Satria offered a steadying hand. You're stronger than you think, he said, his voice calm but firm. The world is harsh, but that's why we're here to make it a little less so. Peter looked up, his resolve hardening. I won't let you down. Good, Satria replied, the fire of determination igniting within him. Fatalis, still, you should stay alert. I sense something unnatural inside that cave. Prepare yourself, brother. Satria gave a curt nod to Esteth. Lead your men inside. We'll catch up after checking on Peter. Esteth's piercing eyes scanned the area before she barked orders to her soldiers. You heard him. Formation. Prepare for hostiles. We move cautiously but swiftly. Yes, ma'am, the soldiers replied, saluting before marching into the foreboding cave. As Esteth and her troops moved ahead, Satria turned back to Peter. He knelt beside him, offering a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Peter shook his head, shame clouding his expression. I'm sorry, big bro Shin. I didn't think it'd be this bad. I feel like a burden. Satria smiled, his tone understanding. You're not a burden, Peter. You're human. Nobody gets used to something like this overnight. Use this as a lesson, you'll grow stronger from it. Satria crouched beside him. The question is, can you keep going? If not, I won't force you. Peter hesitated, but after a moment, he straightened up. Though his hands still shook, there was a new resolve in his eyes. No, I came here for a reason. I won't run away. Satria smiled faintly. Good. Let's move. The soldiers inside suddenly froze as a low growl reverberated through the cavern. The air grew heavier, and the shadows seemed to shift unnaturally. Hold the line. Esteth commanded, her voice cutting through the rising panic. Her soldiers formed a defensive formation, weapons drawn. From deep within the cave, a pair of glowing, golden eyes pierced the darkness. As Satria and Peter ventured deeper into the dimly lit cave, the atmosphere grew heavier with each step. A low rumble echoed through the walls, followed by an earth-shattering roar. Groaar. The sound was deafening, like a primal force shaking the core of their being. Both instinctively covered their ears, grimacing against the thunderous noise. What the hell was that? Peter shouted, his voice barely audible over the echoing roar. Satria didn't answer. He took out his driver, his movements calm yet resolute. Henshin. In an instant, a burst of energy engulfed him. When the light subsided, Satria stood clad in sleek, black armor with sharp, angular edges and glowing crimson accents. His transformation into Kamen Rider was complete, and his presence radiated power and determination. Peter gawked, his amazement evident. Holy crap! That's like Iron Man on steroids. Not the time, Spy Day, Satria replied, his tone focused. Esteth is in trouble. Let's move. Without another word, Satria sprinted toward the source of the roar, Peter following closely behind. At the heart of the cave, Esteth and her 50 soldiers faced a nightmare incarnate. The monstrous Shigeru Magala stood before them, its golden scales glinting in the dim light, giving it an almost divine appearance. But there was nothing divine about the destruction it unleashed. The beast roared again, sending tremors through the ground as its wings, now massive golden sheets, unfurled with a star-like brilliance. It exuded a palpable aura of menace, its mastery over the frenzy virus evident in every movement. Attack formation. Don't let it intimidate you. Esteth commanded, her voice cutting through the chaos. The soldiers obeyed, launching a coordinated assault, but their weapons barely scratched its hardened golden scales. The skin is too tough. We can't pierce it, one soldier cried out, fear evident in his voice. Hold your ground. Esteth barked, her ice-blue eyes narrowing as she analyzed the beast's movements. The Shigeru Magala roared again, unleashing a barrage of frenzy energy beams from its mouth. Purple streaks of volatile energy rained down, tearing through the ranks of soldiers. Help! Someone, please! My leg is gone! Esteth-sama, save us! Esteth's jaw tightened as she saw her men being decimated. She raised her hand, summoning a storm of ice spears. Weissschnabel! The spears rained down on the beast, managing to wound it slightly, but not enough to stop its rampage. This creature is smaller than that colossal snake in Konoha, she thought grimly, but its power, intelligence, and resilience far surpass anything I've faced before. The Shigeru Magala retaliated, firing a massive purple energy ball from its mouth. The orb exploded upon impact, annihilating anything caught in its radius. Esteth dodged skillfully, but her forces were reduced to half their numbers. Some soldiers, overcome with terror, broke ranks and fled. Cowards, Esteth muttered under her breath, her icy demeanor barely concealing her anger. I'll deal with my insubordination later. Just as the Shigeru Magala prepared another devastating attack, a series of black, glowing arrows shot through the air, striking the beast's side. The arrows detonated on impact, causing a chain of explosions that made the monster roar in agony. Esteth turned toward the cave entrance, spotting Satria emerging from the shadows, his black bow in hand. Sorry, we're late, Satria said, his tone calm yet confident. Peter followed closely behind, looking more determined than before. You've got one badass entrance, dude. The Shigeru Magala turned its enraged gaze toward the newcomers, its wings spreading wide as it prepared another barrage of frenzy energy. "Peter, stay back and help evacuate the injured," Satria ordered. Peter nodded, quickly moving to assist the surviving soldiers. Meanwhile, Asteth joined Satria, standing shoulder to shoulder with him. "This thing's tough," she said, her voice laced with frustration. "Its scales are practically impenetrable." "Every armor has a weak point," Satria replied, aiming his bow at the beast's glowing eyes. "We just have to find it." The Shigeru Magala roared again, its golden wings shining brighter as it unleashed a torrent of scales that erupted into energy pillars upon touching the ground. Satria leapt into action, dodging the explosions with agility while firing a series of explosive arrows at the beast. Asteth followed suit, conjuring a massive ice sword to slash at the monster's legs. Despite its immense power, the coordinated assault began to take a toll on the Shigeru Magala. As the fight raged on, the cavern shook with every blow exchanged. Satria's black armor glinted in the dim light, his movements a blur of precision and power. Asteth's ice magic froze parts of the cavern, creating an arena that limited the beast's movement. But the Shigeru Magala was far from defeated. With a mighty flap of its wings, it created a shockwave that sent both Satria and Asteth sprawling. "Damn, this thing's relentless," Satria muttered, picking himself up. "Relentless?" Asteth smirked, despite the blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. "Good. I like a challenge." The two warriors exchanged a determined glance before charging at the beast once more, ready to give it everything they had. Asteth watched closely, noticing faint bruises on the beast's golden scales from Satria's earlier assault. Satria created another volley of dark fire arrows, each imbued with crackling energy, and fired them at Shigeru Magala. The arrows streaked through the air like meteors, but before they could hit their target, the beast flapped its mighty wings. A colossal gust of wind surged forth, snuffing out the arrows mid-flight and sending Satria staggering back. "Holy shit, this beast is smart," Satria muttered, his eyes narrowing. The creature's intelligence was apparent, making it even more dangerous. He gripped his bow tighter, realizing this fight would require not just power but strategy. The Shigeru Magala roared, its guttural cry reverberating through the cave. A dark aura surrounded it as it charged toward the group with blinding speed, aiming to knock them down. "Evade!" Satria shouted, leaping to the side as the beast barreled through their formation. "Spy day!" Satria called out, his voice urgent. "Try to seal its movements with your webs. Anything to slow it down." Peter Parker nodded. "Roger that. I'll find a good angle." He leapt onto a jagged rock formation above the battlefield, observing the beast's movements like a predator sizing up its prey. Satria turned to Asteth. "I need you to create an opening. Don't let it flap those wings again, I'll line up a shot." Asteth smirked, unsheathing her sword. "Leave it to me." She stepped forward, her icy presence radiating confidence. "Come to me, you overgrown lizard." Asteth taunted, her voice echoing in the cavern. Shigeru Magala's attention snapped to her. With a mighty roar, it lunged, claws slashing toward her with deadly precision. Asteth sidestepped, deflecting the attack with her blade while launching a barrage of icy spikes at its face. Above, Peter seized the moment. Now or never. He shot thick webs at the beast's legs, wrapping them tightly. Shigeru Magala roared in frustration as it stumbled slightly, its movements momentarily hindered. "Go for it!" Peter yelled, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Satria didn't waste the opportunity. Drawing back his bowstring, he summoned a dark arrow pulsing with energy and aimed for the beast's exposed side. The arrow flew true, striking Shigeru Magala and causing it to roar in pain. The explosion rocked the cavern, sending chunks of stone raining down. But instead of faltering, the beast grew more frenzied. Its golden scales shimmered ominously, and its attacks became faster and more ferocious. "Damn it!" Asteth gritted her teeth as she struggled to parry its relentless claw swipes. "It's powering up." The Shigeru Magala reared back, its wings spread wide as it prepared another charge. Esdeath quickly acted, slamming her hand to the ground and encasing the floor in a thick layer of ice. The beast slipped mid-charge, crashing to the ground with a deafening thud. "Now's your chance," she shouted. Satria focused all his energy, dark flames swirling around his bow. The air crackled with power as he prepared his attack. Arrow of Calamity. The arrow shot forth, a black comet streaking through the air. It struck the Shigeru Magala square in the chest, erupting into a massive explosion that shook the entire cavern. Fatalis, did we get him? As the smoke cleared, the group's hopes plummeted. The Shigeru Magala still stood, battered and bleeding but very much alive. Its chest glowed with an ominous light as it began charging a devastating attack in its mouth. Fatalis, dangerous. Don't let it hit you with that. Stay away from him. Satria yelled at everyone. Peter attempted to retreat, but his foot caught on a jagged rock. He tripped, falling hard onto the icy ground. "No, no, no," he muttered, scrambling to get up. The Shigeru Magala's glowing eyes locked onto him, its charged breath aimed directly at the vulnerable Spider-Man. "Damn it!" Satria cursed, his mind racing. He knew he couldn't reach Peter in time. Esdeath's eyes widened as she realized the danger. If that attack hits, Spider-Boy will die. Peter looked up, frozen in terror as the beast prepared to unleash its deadly virus breath. _ Group chat. Pervert Sage, someone do something. Man with gender equality, quick. Help him. Evil spirit, they weren't prepared for this. Amelia, I can't watch this. __. Satria clenched his fists. His mind was racing, but one thought burned brighter than the rest. I can't let this happen. Better to die trying than live with regret. The world. Stop time. To be continued. Chapter 23, Chapter 23. Echoes of the Shattered Beast. Peter Parker's POV. When Shin's attack connected, Peter felt a surge of relief and amazement. The explosion was immense, powerful enough to level buildings. Surely the beast was finished. That's amazing, he muttered, marveling at the display of power. For a moment, he felt confident they had won. But reality often disappoints. Through the settling dust, the beast emerged, battered but far from defeated. Its golden scales shimmered ominously as it prepared its next attack. Suddenly, the monster's glowing eyes locked onto him. Fear unlike anything Peter had ever felt clawed at his chest. For the first time, the thought of death didn't feel like some distant concept but a looming certainty. His instincts screamed at him to run. To survive. But his body refused to cooperate. In his panicked state, his foot caught on a jagged rock, sending him sprawling onto the ground. He looked up, helpless, as the beast began charging its deadly purple beam. A kaleidoscope of emotions surged through him, fear, regret, and a deep, aching sadness. He thought of Aunt May, Gwen, and even the new friends he'd made in this strange adventure: Shin, Esdeath, and the others. I'm sorry, everyone. I thought I could keep up. I thought I could help. But I've only been a burden. The glow of the monster's attack intensified, and Peter closed his eyes, resigning himself to his fate. The roar of the charging beam filled his ears. The world, stop time. The chaos of the moment froze. The monster's beam hung suspended in midair like a painting. When Peter opened his eyes again, he was no longer in the beast's line of fire. Instead, he was on solid ground several meters away, gasping for breath. He looked up to see Shin standing before him, his dark armor gleaming with an aura of raw power. Are you okay, Spidey? Shin asked, his tone calm but firm. Don't push yourself too hard. If you're scared, it's okay to back out. Go back to your world. We can handle it from here. Peter's breath hitched. The offer to retreat was tempting, but shame quickly replaced his fear. Was he really going to run? Abandon the people fighting by his side? What would Uncle Ben think if he could see him now? No, Peter said, clenching his fists. I'm not a coward. I won't leave my comrades in danger. I already promised to see this through, no matter what. For the first time since the fight began, his voice didn't tremble. Shin studied him for a moment before a faint smile crossed his face. That's a nice answer, kid. Just don't get yourself killed, all right? Suddenly, Asthetha's voice cut through the moment. Well said, Spider Boy. Now, get ready. That beast isn't done yet. Peter turned to see Asteth stepping forward, her weapon gleaming with frost. Her confidence radiated like a beacon. Peter nodded, determination now lighting his features. No more mistakes. No more running. I'll prove I belong here. Satria POV. Somehow, I managed to stop time even if only for 3 seconds. The world stood still as I watched the events frozen in place. The thrill of battle must be enhancing my power. He glanced at the humanoid Black Knight looming behind him, his stand, dark platinum. Fatalis, good. Slowly but surely, you'll be able to extend it, you're improving fast. As the frozen moment faded and the world resumed motion, Asteth turned to him with a curious look. Did you just stop time, Shin? She asked, her tone sharp but intrigued. Satria blinked. How did you know? He hadn't expected her to catch on so quickly. Asteth smirked. Of course, I'd notice. I can do something similar too, you know. Wait, both of you can stop time. Peter cut in, his voice full of disbelief. Seriously? That's insane. If people in my world had this power, it'd be absolute chaos. The two nodded in unison. All right, enough chit-chat, Satria warned, tightening his grip on his weapon. Here it comes again. Shigeru Magala roared and charged, its massive jaws snapping toward them in a deadly lunge. Let me borrow a move from a certain pirate, Satria said with a smirk. Haiken. A surge of dark flames erupted around his fist as he struck the beast squarely in the face, sending it reeling back with a pained roar. That hurt it, Asteth noted. Fire must be its weakness. Got it. Satria nodded. He pulled a card from his deck and inserted it into the drag visor. Sword vent. A black blade materialized in his hand, but this time, he infused it with his stand's power. The sword ignited with dark flames, radiating overwhelming heat and energy. Let's combine Dark Platinum's power with yours, Fatalis, Satria said. Fatalis, go for it, partner. Give it hell. Satria turned to his allies. Back me up. I'll finish this thing. Peter and Asteth nodded, determination gleaming in their eyes. Satria dashed toward Shigeru, his flaming sword trailing sparks behind him. The beast, sensing the danger, opened its maw to unleash a deadly virus breath attack. Dark Platinum, stop time. The world froze again. Satria sidestepped the attack, reappearing directly in front of the monster. Time resumed, and Shigeru's glowing eyes widened in shock. The beast swiped at him with its massive claw, but before it could connect, strands of white webbing shot out and wrapped around its arm. Not so fast! Peter shouted, pulling with all his strength to hold the monster in place. Shigeru roared and tried to take flight, but its legs froze in place as ice spread up from the ground. Fufu, I won't let you escape. Asthetha's voice dripped with cold confidence as she held the beast in check with her powers. The monster writhed and roared, but it was trapped. This is it, Satria said, raising his flaming sword high. Goodbye, Shigeru. With a swift, precise strike, he severed the beast's head from its body. A geyser of blood erupted from the monster as it collapsed with a thunderous crash, its massive form going limp. Silence followed, broken only by their ragged breaths. Peter fell to his knees, trembling slightly as the adrenaline wore off. That was insane, he muttered, looking up at Satria and Esteth. How do you guys stay so calm through all of this? Esteth smirked. Experience. You'll learn. Satria walked over and extended a hand to Peter. You did good, Spidey. You've got guts. Peter took his hand, standing up shakily but with a smile. Thanks, man. But, next time? Maybe warn me before you decide to stop time or unleash some crazy fire attacks. Satria laughed. No promises. Fatalis, a job well done, partner. But remember, this is just the beginning. Group chat messages. Man with gender equality, they won. Amazing teamwork, you guys showed us. Evil spirit, I'm impressed. Someone else can manipulate time like me here. Pervert sage, damn, that was intense. My heart's still racing. Amelia, congratulations, everyone. That was incredible. Mission complete. Rewards. 10,000 points will be shared. 5,000 for Shin and Surprise Box. 3,000 for Ice Sadist and Surprise Box. 2,000 for Spider-Man and Surprise Box. Participants will be returned to their worlds in 15 minutes. __. Satria smirked, leaning on his weapon. So, Spider-Boy, how does it feel to come face to face with death? Peter looked up, still shaken but managing a wry smile. Honestly? That was quite an experience. Makes New York seem like a playground in comparison. Esteth chuckled, crossing her arms as she looked at the young hero. You showed bravery today. You didn't abandon your comrades, even when faced with danger. That's the quality of a true warrior. Peter flushed at her praise, scratching the back of his head. Thank you, big sis Esteth. Esteth observed him for a moment. Though she respected his courage, she thought to herself, he's promising, but his naive worldview might hold him back someday. Satria glanced at the massive corpse of Shigeru Magala lying before them. So, Esteth, what are you planning to do with this thing? It's a pretty big trophy. Esteth shrugged. The Empire would likely want its remains to create weapons, but you're the one who killed it. It's your decision. Satria stroked his chin. Could your scientists make something useful out of it? Of course, Esteth replied. The Empire has experts who can craft remarkable items from creatures like this. Satria grinned. In that case, could you make me a ring from its body? Something unique and powerful. You can keep the rest for the Empire. A ring. Esteth raised an eyebrow. Why a ring? I want to surprise my beloved, Satria admitted, a playful smirk on his face. Esteth's lips curled into a small smile. You're quite romantic, aren't you? Of course. Satria crossed his arms proudly. Esteth nodded. Consider it done. After all, by slaying this beast, you've done more than enough to earn the Empire's favor. If I'd fought it alone, I might not have survived, she thought silently, her respect for Satria growing. As the light began to envelop the group, signaling their return, Satria waved goodbye. Looks like this is it. Until next time, Esteth. Spidey. Peter smiled brightly. Thank you, Brother Shin, for saving me. And thank you, Big Sis Esteth, for everything. I hope we'll meet again someday. Esteth offered a rare, genuine smile. Take care, Spider-Boy. I'll be waiting for our next meeting. Kyoto, Japan. Satria materialized back in his world, letting out a deep sigh. Finally home. I didn't know Akame ga Kill had monsters like that. Guess the worlds in this group chat are full of surprises. As he finished, he thanked the owner again and left a generous tip. See you next time, Shin-kun, the owner called. Satria exited. Satria adjusted his bag as he stepped back into the bustling streets of Kuaha. All right, time to head home. Who knows what chaos awaits tomorrow, he thought with a small chuckle, making his way down the familiar road. As he walked through the streets, he noticed someone running frantically. Issei Hyudu. Hey? Why is he in such a hurry? Satria muttered. Then it hit him. Wait, is this that event? The one where Asia gets killed by the fallen angels? Fatalis, don't be reckless. You've already pushed yourself to the limit today. Satria hesitated, watching Issei disappear into the distance. Should I get involved, or not? Gas. Bang. Satria anti-recall base before mission accomplished. To be continued. Chapter 24, Chapter 24. Hero for fun, the White Savior. He silently followed Issei, keeping his distance as he watched the three figures Issei, Konako, and Kaiba approach an abandoned church. Better text Kiyohime before things get too messy. Satria pulled out his phone and quickly typed a message to his wife. Dear, I'm going to be late getting back. Something's happening here. What's going on? Is someone trying to hurt you? Let me kill them if they're after my Dana-sama. No, it's not that. It's a confrontation between devils and fallen angels. I just want to observe for now. Okay, be careful, Dana-sama. I love you. I love you too, sweetheart. Satria sighed in relief, then looked back toward the church. Okay, done. Let's see what you're up to, Issei. He watched as Konako kicked the door open with brute force. That's not the most subtle way to enter a dangerous area, Konako-chan, Satria chuckled. Inside, the group faced a deranged priest who seemed to be talking nonsense. This guy must be either supremely confident or idiot, Satria thought, shaking his head. And why is he telling them where Asia is locked up? Fatalis, you're going to save the nun, brother? Sigh. Yes. She's just an innocent girl caught in the middle of this mess. If she wants to choose her fate later, that's her call. But she deserves to be saved now. Satria moved closer to the church, staying just out of sight. Dark Platinum's range was only about 15 meters, and he needed to stay close enough to observe but far enough to remain unseen. As he heard the priest reveal Asia's location, Satria made his move, entering the church with quiet determination. The group noticed him immediately, their attention now drawn to his unexpected arrival. Dark Platinum, stop time! Satria declared, freezing time and walking past the group. He approached the entrance of the underground room, where Asia was chained, her frail body barely hanging on. What? Who is this? Issei muttered, confused by the sudden change in the atmosphere. I felt someone walk past us, Konako said, her senses picking up something familiar. This scent. Shin-senpai. Satria walked through the aisle of the church, ignoring the shady figures in strange cult outfits. What? How did you get in here? One of them shouted, while another demanded, who are you? Satria stopped, tilting his head slightly as a smirk played on his lips. You're asking the wrong question. What do you mean? One cultist stammered, visibly unnerved. Satria raised his hand, waving it in front of his face in a slow, deliberate motion. You can't see me, he said, his voice dripping with mockery. Before they could even react, his stand materialized with explosive force. Aura! 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 Each punch landed with pinpoint precision, sending the cultists flying like ragdolls. The cultists were too confused to react, stumbling over each other as they were knocked unconscious in rapid succession. Nanny, one of them gasped in disbelief. What the hell is happening? One shouted, clutching his ribs as he collapsed to the ground. Another cultist crawled backward, eyes wide in terror. He's not even moving. What's hitting us? Satria dusted off his hands, shaking his head as he walked past the groaning bodies. Told you. You can't see me. With a shrug, he kept moving toward his goal, leaving the beaten cultists writhing in confusion and pain. Ignoring the fallen cultists, Satria spotted the woman in SM attire who was overseeing Asia's captivity. She looked at him, taken aback. Who are you, and why are you here? Satria cracked his knuckles. Dark Platinum, stop time. He froze time again, crossing the room to the altar, where he swiftly unshackled Asia. You. The woman tried to summon a spear of light, but Satria's stand intercepted her, delivering a powerful punch that sent her crashing back. Satria shook his head. Yaur days. I don't usually hit women, but you're an exception. Without mercy, he unleashed a barrage of punches. Aura, 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 aura. The woman fell unconscious, unable to withstand the onslaught. As Satria defeated her, he noticed a glowing notification from the Dimensions chat. __. Side mission complete. Save the innocent nun. Reward, 300 copyright. Shin coins, 25.500 copyright. Asia slowly opened her eyes, confused but relieved to see the man who had saved her. She blinked, seeing a white-haired, handsome figure with red eyes standing before her. Who are you? She asked weakly. Satria smiled warmly. I'm just a hero for fun. Hero for fun? Asia echoed, her confusion evident. Yab. But what matters is you're safe now. Go, your friend is waiting for you. Satria gently wrapped her in a blanket and helped her to her feet. Asia hesitated, then nodded. Issei-san. He smiled. That's right. He's a good boy. Take care of him, okay? He cares about you. Thank you, Mr. Hero for fun. For saving me, Asia said as she slowly made her way to the exit. Satria waved her off with a smile. Anytime. Now, with Asia safe, Satria turned his attention back to the fallen angel. He approached her, his phone already in hand. Now, what should I do with you? He muttered, gazing at the unconscious woman. He opened his phone and dialed a number. Dear, can you teleport me? Please pick me up. Inside the church, Konako had thrown a chair at the deranged priest, only to see it cut through the air with ease. What a rude girl! Chibi! The priest sneered. Konako's brow twitched. Chibi! She didn't like that nickname at all. The priest fired a holy bullet at them, but it was easily dodged. Meanwhile, Kaiba and the priest clashed with swords. Damn you! Die! The priest yelled. You're not bad yourself, Kaiba remarked, dodging the priest's wild swings. You too, devil, the priest snarled, grinning madly. He's not just a pretty face, Issei muttered, watching in awe as Kaiba weaved through Fried's attacks like a seasoned dancer. Kaiba tightened his grip on his sword, his expression sharpening. I think I need to take this a bit more seriously. Black energy began to swirl around his blade, crackling with intensity. Fried's eyes widened. What the hell is that? This, Kaiba said coolly, is the Holy Eraser. A sword that devours all light. You've got a sacred gear, too. Fried spat, his voice tinged with disbelief and fury. Hyudo-kun. Kaiba called out without breaking eye contact with Fried. Got it. Boost. Issei shouted, activating his boosted gear to amplify Kaiba's power. With newfound strength coursing through him, Kaiba's movements became even faster, his strikes more precise. At the same time, Issei activated his promotion to Rook and charged into the fray. Fried tried to fire at him, but the bullets bounced harmlessly off Issei's enhanced defenses. Seriously? Fried snarled, only to get punched by Issei, sending him flying into a wall. Before Fried could recover, Konako joined the assault, slamming into him with brutal force. Kaiba followed up with a devastating slash from his holy eraser, forcing Fried to stumble back, bloodied and furious. Damn it! Fried growled, desperation creeping into his voice. I'm not dying here, you damn devils! With that, he threw a light grenade, its blinding flash forcing the trio to shield their eyes. When the light subsided, Fried was nowhere to be found. He escaped, Kaiba said, frustration evident in his tone as he scanned the now empty battlefield. Before they could react further, the sound of footsteps echoed from the altar. The trio turned to see a familiar figure emerging. Asia! Issei shouted, his voice cracking with relief. He sprinted toward her, tears streaming down his face. Issei-san! Asia cried, rushing into his arms and hugging him tightly. You're okay? How did you escape? Issei asked, his voice filled with equal parts relief and curiosity. Asia smiled warmly. I'm fine. A kind man helped me escape, he called himself a hero for fun. A hero for fun? Issei repeated, his confusion mirrored by Kaiba and Konako. Asia nodded enthusiastically. Yes. He had white hair, red eyes, and he was so kind. He even covered me with a blanket to make sure I was okay. Konako narrowed her eyes, her nose twitching slightly. White hair, kind. Shin-senpai, she muttered under her breath. Issei froze, his mind flashing back to the mysterious white-haired figure who had appeared before. Shin-san. He whispered, piecing it together. To be continued. Chapter 25, Chapter 25. Shattered Packs. Abandoned Church. Kyoto, Japan. With Rias Gremari's entire peerage gathered, they turned their attention to Asia. The topic of interest? The mysterious hero for fun who had saved her from the fallen angel. I'm sure it's Senpai, Konako thought. White hair, a kind personality, even his scent matches. But who is he, really? I don't sense anything supernatural about him during school, even when we sit together on the rooftop after class. She frowned slightly. While Satria smelled like an ordinary human, his actions spoke otherwise. A normal human couldn't possibly defeat a fallen angel, let alone stray exorcists. I need to ask him directly. Maybe I can even persuade him to join us as a devil. If he becomes part of the Gremari family, we'd have more time together. Her cheeks reddened slightly at the thought. Every day with Senpai's gentle hands touching mine. It's like heaven. No. Aosh. I mean, it would definitely be blissful. Tomorrow, I'll talk to Shin-san at school. If he's the one, I have to thank him for saving Asia. Issei clenched his fist, determination shining in his eyes. Ara, Akeno's teasing voice broke through the room. It seems we have a powerful unknown factor in Kyoto town. Her gaze lingered on the room's entrance. The aftermath of the fallen angel's attack was clear, yet the efficiency of their defeat was astounding. Does anyone have an idea who Asia's savior might be? Rias asked, scanning her peerage. Maybe it's a guy from my class, Issei piped up. He's a transfer student and fits the description Asia-chan gave. Rias nodded. We'll investigate that later. Asia, what will you do now? The young blonde hesitated before answering, I don't have a place to stay anymore. The church has cast me out. Rias's lips curled into a smirk. A former saint with a sacred gear capable of healing devils. Useful. How about joining my peerage? Rias offered smoothly, masking her strategic intentions with a warm smile. Asia's eyes widened in surprise. Satria's mansion. Kyoto, Japan. A blue fire swirled into existence in the living room, revealing three figures, Satria, Kiyohime, and Rainare. Home sweet home, Satria sighed, flopping onto the sofa. Kiyohime frowned. Danasama, you reek. Go shower before you stink up the house. Yes, dear, Satria teased, dragging himself to the bathroom. After freshening up, Satria and Kiyohime headed to the basement, where they roused the shackled Rainare with a splash of cold water. Wah! Please don't hurt me. I'll tell you everything. Rainare shrieked, trembling under Kiyohime's watchful gaze. Relax, Satria said with a lazy smile. I'm a good guy, right, Kiyo? Absolutely, Kiyohime replied, patting his head. Then, her voice dropped a few octaves. Now, why is this crow in our home, Danasama? Satria smirked, releasing a fraction of his dragon aura. Tell me, Rainare, who ordered you to target Issei and steal Asia's sacred gear? And don't even think about lying. She'll know. Rainare's face turned pale. Lord Kokabeel. He said it was a direct order from Lord Azazel to eliminate threats to our faction. Satria's eyes narrowed. Kokabeel, hey? That loud-mouthed fool from Canon. Why does he want a war? Rainare stammered, he wants to kill the Mua sisters and recover Excalibur to reignite the Great War. Satria sighed, massaging his temples. Idiot! He glanced at her coldly. And you? Why were you so desperate to take Asia's sacred gear? His gaze pierced through her, unrelenting and unkind. I can see it in you from one glance, greedy, cruel, narcissistic. You would stoop so low as to target a defenseless girl who can't even fight. I had no choice, she stammered, her voice breaking. It was an order, from Lord Kokabeel. His eyes narrowed, icy contempt flickering within them. An order? Convenient excuse for scum like you. So tell me, what's your excuse for enjoying the pain and suffering you inflict? He leaned closer, his tone now almost a whisper but no less menacing. What drives someone like you to act this way? Ambition? Pride? Or is it plain cowardice? Answer me. Rainare hesitated, terror written on her face. 5. Satria began counting down, his tone icy. No, wait. 4. Please. 3. I just wanted. 0. Without hesitation, Satria plunged his dark energy-coated hand through her chest, silencing her protests. Rainare's life flashed before her eyes, her ambition to impress Azazel, her fall from grace, and the hollow promises of love she'd never receive. She choked out before going limp. Burn the body, Satria ordered flatly, turning to Kiyohime. With pleasure, Danasama, she said, dragging the corpse away. Satria leaned against the wall, closing his eyes. I don't like killing, but people like her. They leave no choice. Kua Academy, rooftop. The next day. Satria leaned against the railing, a cigarette in hand. Senpai, how many times do I have to tell you to stop smoking? Konako's stern voice called out. Satria chuckled as he turned to see Konako and Issei stepping onto the rooftop. Morning. What brings you two here? Shin-san, are you the hero for fun that saved Asia-chan? Issei asked directly. Satria raised an eyebrow. What makes you think that? I recognized your scent, Konako interjected. You can't fool me, senpai. Satria exhaled a puff of smoke, then sighed. All right, you caught me. So, what now? Issei dropped to his knees. Thank you, Shin-san. You saved my friend. I owe you everything. Hey, get up. Satria waved him off awkwardly. It was nothing. How's Asia doing? She's living at my house now, Issei replied, blushing. Satria smirked. What a bad boy, Issei, tricking an innocent girl into your home. Did you already? No. I'd never. Issei blurted out, his face turning crimson. Relax, I'm joking. Before the banter could continue, the rooftop door opened again. A crimson-haired beauty stood at the entrance with her queen, her gaze sharp and commanding. "Stop dodging questions. Who are you, really?" Rias demanded, her aura pressing against him. Satria smiled wryly. "Well, this just got complicated." The red-haired girl glared at him, her tone sharp and unyielding. "Tell me, how did you save Asia from the fallen angel?" Satria took a slow drag from his cigarette, exhaling lazily as if her question bored him. "Fatalis, now, what will you do, brother?" The voice echoed in his mind, teasing. "Just my luck," Satria thought, his lips curling into a smirk. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, growing tense. The crimson-haired girl's aura flared, an unspoken challenge hanging in the air. Satria met her glare, utterly unfazed. "Why should I tell you anything? The important thing is your friend is safe. I'm a simple man, don't bother me, and I won't bother you." Rias's teeth clenched in frustration. "Do you even know who I am?" she snapped. "I am Rias Gremory, Kua is my territory, and I cannot allow unknown individuals to wander it without my permission." Her declaration hung in the air, commanding and authoritative, but Satria only raised an eyebrow. "Your territory?" He chuckled, the sound mocking. "Last time I checked, this is Japan's territory. Or have noble from foreign countries started annexing land from Japan now?" "No. It's mine!" Rias exclaimed, her voice rising, cheeks flushing with indignation. "This land is entrusted to me by my brother." Satria sighed, rubbing the back of his neck as if dealing with a tantrum-throwing child. "Nobles, always so troublesome." "Fatalis, you're one to talk, puppy, you pamper your little sister like Surtsk pampers her." "Touché," Satria admitted with a grin. "But can you blame me? My little sister's adorable." "Shut up!" Rias's voice snapped him out of his thoughts. "Just tell me who you are and what faction you belong to." Satria let out an exaggerated sigh, tossing his cigarette to the trashbin. "Fine. Name's Shidou Matsumi, but you can call me Shin. I'm 16, just a regular high schooler and ordinary human. My hobbies? None of your business. My dreams? Also none of your business. Nice to meet you or whatever." The sheer nonchalance of his introduction left everyone speechless. Ara, what an interesting man," Akeno said, licking her lips in amusement. Rias's frustration boiled over. "You're mocking me. Answer me properly, what faction are you from? What are you? Why are you so angry?" Satria asked, glancing at Issei. "Is she always like this?" Issei's sweat dropped. "Don't ask me, man." "Enough." Rias's aura flared, dark and oppressive. "I demand you answer me, or—" In a blink, Satria was behind her, his voice calm but laced with menace. "Or what?" Rias froze, her eyes wide. "What? How are you behind me? I didn't even see you move. I was watching him the entire time." Akeno said, shocked. "How?" Even Konako stared in disbelief. "No human moves that fast. If he wanted to, we'd all be dead already." "Who knows?" Satria said with a smirk, now casually leaning against the wall beside Konako. Rias turned to face him, her mind racing. "He's human? No, he can't be. But if he has sacred gear?" Trying to regain her composure, Rias extended her wings, revealing her devil form. "We are devils. I am Rias Gremory, and this town is under my protection." Satria feigned surprise, his smirk never faltering. "Who, devils, hey? How interesting." Rias took the opportunity to explain the biblical factions angels, fallen angels, and devils as well as their history and the peerage system. "Fatalis, so, in short, their greed and pride led to war, and now they're turning others into their kind to fix their mess. Cute, they should recruit Pajit, with their reproduction skills, I bet they'd wholeheartedly help solve this problem. Satria nearly choked at the thought. Fatalis. No racing. Bad dragon. But yet, I agree. They're power-hungry idiots. He exhaled, shaking his head in resignation. Still, compared to the demons from Doom, World of Warcraft, or Warhammer, these devils are practically adorable. They're like the chibi version of Hellspawn. Fatalis, oh? Are you upset because India is serumpan with Indonesia? My apologies. Satria scowled internally. No. India and Bangladesh are Malaysia serumpan, not us. The black dragon burst into laughter in his mind. Fatalis, ah, my mistake, my dear patriotic puppy. Carry on with your lecture on geography. When Rias finished, she smirked confidently. Now, Shin-kun, how about this? Join my peerage. You'll gain riches, power, fame, and other benefits. Her eyes sparkled mischievously. If you want a harem, that's fine too. Satria leaned back, a playful smirk tugging at his lips. Even if you say that, I wouldn't know where to start. I don't think there's a single girl out there who'd want to join my harem. Rias raised an eyebrow and gave him a once-over. Handsome face, cute features, and a mysterious aura that practically screamed potential. She couldn't help but think he might be the key to defeating Riser, and maybe something more. Oh? You don't need to worry about that, she replied smoothly, taking a step closer. Once you join my peerage, your every wish can come true. And if you don't mind, well, I... Ha 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 ha. Satria suddenly burst into laughter, cutting her off mid-sentence. For a devil, you're surprisingly innocent. He grinned, his eyes gleaming with amusement. Seriously, I don't even know what to say. If it were any other guy, they'd probably be on their knees begging, please marry me. Rias blinked, her cheeks flushing faintly. What? Innocent. I was being serious, she snapped, crossing her arms indignantly. And why would I marry someone like you? Arrogant, rude, and ugh. Still laughing, Satria lit a cigarette and waved her off casually. Relax, princess. I'm just teasing. He raised an eyebrow, his expression unreadable. After hearing all that, my answer is clear. Rias smiled, certain of his response. No human can resist this offer. I refuse. The room fell silent. What? Rias's composure cracked. How dare you refuse my offer? Simple, Satria said, turning to leave. I'm not interested in serving spoiled brats. Brat? She shrieked, her face red with anger. You're 2 years younger than me. Still a brat, Satria said with a smirk. Issei stood off to the side, watching the exchange with wide eyes. His jaw dropped. Marry her. Did Rias-senpai just hint at marriage? His heart skipped a beat, a mix of jealousy and relief surging through him. Jealousy, because the idea of Rias offering such attention to another guy, not to mention Satria, pricked at his insecurities. Why is it always the cool, mysterious guys? But then came the relief. When Satria casually rejected her, Issei couldn't help but feel a strange sense of victory. He refused her. That means, there's still hope for me. Konako silently observed the exchange from the side, her expression unreadable. On one hand, she felt a twinge of disappointment at her senpai's rejection of her king's offer. After all, Rias's charm and position always drew others to her effortlessly, men and women alike, captivated by her strength and beauty. But at the same time, Konako couldn't deny a small sense of satisfaction blooming within her. Unlike those who blindly idolized Rias, Satria remained unaffected, his demeanor cool and detached. That lack of reverence was oddly refreshing. And then there was something else, a subtle warmth she felt whenever she was near him. Unlike the overwhelming adoration others showered on Rias, this warmth wasn't forced or suffocating. It was quiet, comforting, and real. Konako lowered her gaze, her small hands tightening into fists. "Senpai, you're different," she murmured under her breath, her voice too soft for anyone to hear. Ignoring her outburst, he turned to Issei. "Hey, do me a favor, will you?" Sure. What is it?" "Tell your princess to stop bothering me. I won't mess with her if she doesn't mess with me." "Deal." Satria said coolly, walking past the group without waiting for a reply. As he walked away, he casually muttered a verse under his breath, Ayat Kursi, a powerful passage from the Quran. The reaction was immediate. Rias and her peerage groaned, their bodies racked with pain as if seared by an unseen flame. The air around them grew heavy, the holy words piercing through their demonic nature. Rias gritted her teeth, trembling as she struggled to keep her composure. What is this?" she gasped. Akeno clutched her chest, sweat trickling down her forehead. "Such power, from words alone? What kind of human is he?" Konako crouched low, her usually stoic expression twisted in discomfort. "Holy energy, too strong." Issei stumbled back, shocked to see even the mighty Rias brought to her knees. "Shin-san did that? How?" Meanwhile, Satria, unfazed, glanced over his shoulder and murmured to himself, that works?" Weird knowledge increased. He stopped reciting the holy verse and gave a half-hearted wave, his back still turned to them. "Remember my words, devils, stay out of my way." As his figure disappeared into the distance, Rias clenched her fists, her pride bruised and her fury boiling over. "That, damn, human!" she hissed under her breath, her crimson hair falling messily over her shoulders as she fought to recover. "This isn't over, Shin. Not by a long shot." The rest of her peerage exchanged uneasy glances, each of them wondering the same thing: who exactly is this man and what is he hiding? To be continued. Chapter 26, Chapter 26. Legend of the Hope Bringer. Satria's Mansion. Kyoto, Japan. "I'm back, Kiyohime," Satria called out as he stepped into the living room, dropping his bag onto the couch. A graceful figure emerged from the kitchen, her traditional kimono contrasting with the modern setting. Her gentle smile was warm, but her sharp eyes betrayed an ever-watchful nature. "Welcome back, dear. How was school today?" she asked, approaching him with a teacup in hand. Satria sighed as he sank into the plush sofa. "Some devil approached me, asking me to join her peerage. Naturally, I turned her down." Kiyohime's calm expression faltered slightly. Her grip on the teacup tightened. "A devil, you say? Who was it?" "Rias Gremory," he replied nonchalantly, taking the tea from her hands. Her eyes narrowed, her composure replaced by unease. "Gremory, as in the clan of Surtsk's Lucifer, the super devil? What is the heiress doing in Kyoto?" "Apparently, she's managing the territory," Satria explained, setting the cup on the table. "She thought I'd jump at the chance to be part of her little group." Kiyohime's tone turned cold. "Be cautious, Danasama. Surtsk's Lucifer is not someone we can afford to provoke, not yet. His power is unrivaled among devils." Satria leaned back casually, exuding an air of confidence. I know," he said, waving her concerns off with a lazy grin. "No need to worry, Kiyohime. I've got no intention of picking a fight with him anytime soon." Kiyohime frowned. "Your tone doesn't exactly inspire confidence. Tell me you've at least thought this through." Satria smirked, tapping the side of his head. "You think I'm the type to walk into a devil's den without a plan? Trust me, I've prepared a solid contingency plan for when things go south." She sighed, sitting beside him. "You always say that, but trouble has a way of finding you." Just as they settled into the conversation, a chime echoed. He glanced at the holographic screen. It wasn't a normal notification, it was from the Dimensional Chat Shop. __. Dimensional Chat Shop Update. Big Sale, 168 hours remaining. Book of Diablo Volper 15,000 copyright. Note of a legendary dark magician who defied 12 heavenly gods. Who knows what secrets lie within? Absorption 20,000 copyright. Allows the user to consume any substance, no matter how toxic, absorbing its powers without harm. Sword Technique, Tempest of the Blade 8,000 copyright. The ultimate sword skill. Generates an energy field, making the user invincible within its boundaries. God-Slaying Emperor Blade 7,000 copyright. An unparalleled weapon capable of cutting through any magical or physical defense. Osiris Ring 10,000 copyright. Grants the power to resurrect the dead, cooldown, 1 month per use. __. Satria raised an eyebrow, muttering to himself as he scrolled through the items. What the hell is this? A starter pack for becoming a villain protagonist. His lips curled into a wry smile. Absorption? Eating people to gain power? No thanks. Kiyohime glanced over his shoulder. What are you looking at? Just some weird chat shop offers, he replied casually, stared at the screen of the dimensional chat shop, his eyes narrowing at the description of the Osiris ring. Resurrect the dead, hey, he muttered, rubbing his chin. Kiyohime noticed his serious expression. What is it, Danasama? He tapped on the item's description, reading it again. It's a ring that lets you bring someone back to life, but it has a 1-month cooldown. Kiyohime's eyes widened slightly. That kind of power, it sounds dangerous. Are you planning to buy it? Yeah, he said, his tone unusually grave. Not for myself. But you know how crazy things can get. If something happens to you, me, or anyone important, I want to have a backup plan. Kiyohime smiled softly, though her expression was tinged with concern. You're always thinking ahead. But don't rely on such things too much, Satria. Life and death have their own balance. I get it, he replied, waving off her warning. Still, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. With that, he clicked the buy button. __. Purchase confirmed, Osiris ring. 10,000 copyright deducted from your balance. Shin coins, 15,500 copyright. __. Moments later, a golden ring materialized in his hand. The design was intricate, featuring an emerald stone at its center, engraved with ancient hieroglyphs. It radiated a faint, mystical aura. Kiyohime leaned closer, inspecting the artifact. That's more impressive than I expected. I can sense its power. Yeah, Satria said, slipping the ring onto his finger. It's a bit overkill, but better safe than sorry. Kiyohime placed a hand on his shoulder. Just don't let it make you reckless. It's easy to take risks when you think you can undo the consequences. He smiled at her concern. Don't worry, Kiyohime. I'm not planning to test it anytime soon. Shin, hey, Spy Dayboy. How's life treating you? Spider-Man, not bad. Quiet day so far except for one new thing. Pervert Sage, yo, Shin. Where can I find Tsunade? Shin, hey? Try a gambling den. Have you run into the Akatsuki yet? Pervert Sage, not yet. Why? Are they nearby? Shin, yet. Itaki and Kisame will show up at Naruto's inn while he's learning Rei's Nan. Be careful. Pervert Sage, got it. Thanks. Ding. God of Hope has joined the chat. Ding. The King of Knights has joined the chat. Ding. Batman Jr. has joined the chat. _. Who, new members? Satria murmured, his lips curving into a mischievous smirk. Let's see who they are. Kiyohime tilted her head. Are you really spending time with that app again? Sometimes I wonder what kind of strange world you've gotten yourself into. Satria chuckled, leaning back against the sofa. A very entertaining one, Kiyohime. Spider-Man, welcome, new member. Pervert Sage, welcome, newbie. Evil Spirit, hello, newcomer. Welcome to the group. Amelia, welcome new members, happy face. King of Knights, what sorcery is this? Who are you people? Explain yourselves at once. Shin, relax, calm down, and welcome to the group. This is a cross-dimensional chat group where you can connect with people from other worlds or dimensions. I'm the admin here. Nice to meet you. Satria sat back, observing the new members' reactions while trying to piece together their identities. King of Knights must be Arturia Pendragon. As for Batman Jr., probably Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, or Damian Wayne. Not too familiar with DC stuff, but I've seen enough to guess. He chuckled, confident in his deductions. Then his attention shifted to the most enigmatic new member. But who the hell is God of Hope? Greek mythology? Maybe Elpis? Or could it be someone else entirely? Satria furrowed his brows. Ice sadist, alright, folks, you know the group's purpose. Let's start with introductions, shall we? King of Knights. God of Hope. Batman Jr., okay, first off, why am I called Batman Jr.? Change my name. Kazuma-sama, you can change your nickname in the profile options, it's very easy. Ice sadist, why should I care, brat? Introduce yourself already. Batman Jr., do you think I'd share my real name in some shady chat group? Shin, chill bro, at Batman Jr. Or should I call you Dick Grayson? Batman Jr., what? How do you know my name? Shin, I have my ways. And you, at King of Knights Arturia Pendragon, right? King of Knights, how dare you? How do you know my true name? Shin, like I said, I have my ways. Relax. We're not your enemy. In fact, we're here to help if you ever face a crisis in your world. Pervert Sage, trust him. He saved my village leader and the entire village from an invasion. Kazuma-sama, it's true. Check the live stream feature if you don't believe him. The newcomers hesitated but eventually checked the live stream option. Batman Jr., this is real? Not some advanced tech or prank. Shin, why would I prank you? King of Knights, a group connecting people across worlds, this is unbelievable. Amelia, excuse me, but there's still someone who hasn't introduced themselves yet at God of Hope. Satria curiosity deepened. Who is this God of Hope? Fatalis, help me out here. Fatalis, already searching your memories, but all I can find is Elpis or maybe Madoka. Try one of those. Shin, are you the one called Madoka, at God? God of Hope, who the heck is Madoka? Pervert Sage, wow, this is the first time Shin's guessing skills have failed. Ice sadist. Shin, are you from a school for gods or something? God of Hope, a school for gods? That sounds ridiculous. But no. Shin, alright, last guess, are you Elpis, the progenitor God of Hope? God of Hope, interesting that you know Elpis, but no. Shin. God of Hope, hee, I'll leave you guessing. By the way, after watching the live stream, I've decided I want to meet you, Shin. See you in the next quest. Satria leaned back, both intrigued and exasperated. Who is this person? And why does he want to meet me? God of Hope, before I log out, can you explain how this group works? Like the shop system. Shin, sure, you can gift items from your world to others. Just scan the item, select a recipient, and it gets delivered. There's also a camera option to share pictures and a live stream feature to broadcast what's happening in real time. God of Hope, interesting. What about the other features? Shin, you can earn 200,1000 coins every day just by logging in. You can earn even more by completing missions. It's simple. God of Hope, cool. Thanks for the info. I'm logging out now, my wife's calling me. God of Hope has logged out. Pervert Sage. Spider-Man, of course, the rich flex even in alternate dimensions. Shin, alright, I'm out too. My beloved calling. See you. Shin has logged out. Kazuma-sama, damn those normies, always showing off. Spider-Man, preach, Kazuma. __. God of Hope POV. Under the moonlit sky, a blonde-haired man stared into the distance, deep in thought. My life just keeps getting more interesting. I was a shinobi of Konoha, dreaming of becoming Hokage. Now, I've ascended to what some call the God of Hope. Funny, right? A boy who grew up alone, shunned and hated, now carries the hopes of worlds on his shoulders. But this isn't about my old life. That world was destroyed. Everything I fought for, everyone I loved, it was gone in an instant. All I had left was 9 Baijiu, and the Sage of 6 Paths, who sent me on this journey. A journey to find 4 ancient keys to restore my world. I didn't understand why I was chosen, but the sage believed in me, so I had to believe in myself too. In this new life, I've gained so much. Friends, allies, enemies, a family, even love. Yet, me. The #1 unpredictable ninja finally found someone, or rather, several someones who see me for who I am and love me anyway. Tonight was a long one. 3 great yokai, fearsome beings, even the mightiest warriors of Japan challenged me. Their power was no joke. Otakimaru, especially, pushed me to my limits. If it wasn't for my Hopushin mode, I might not be standing here. But I'm alive, and in my hands is Aim no Murakumo, the fabled sword that chose me as its wielder. Why it chose me, I have no idea, but I swore I wouldn't disappoint it. Returning home, I stepped through the hidden doorway connecting Takamagahara to my living room. The moment I entered, my girls were there, staring at me. Their eyes screamed worry. "Hello, dear," I greeted casually, but before I could say more, they rushed me and wrapped me in a group hug. Ria, my wife, and the tedious of motherhood, looked at me with her gentle yet firm gaze. "Are you sure you're okay, dear?" I smiled softly and hugged her back. "I'm fine, really." "You better be, Psycho," my other wife, chimed in with her no-nonsense tone. Her long purple hair and sharp eyes still had that warrior's edge, even in a moment like this. The twins were worried, you know. "Sorry for worrying you all," I said, pecking Ria on the lips before turning to Psycho. "How are the kids?" "They're fine," she replied, though I caught a flicker of relief in her expression. "You should check on them soon." Then there was Kurika, my playful and mischievous Nikomata wife. She tilted her head, her cat ears twitching as she studied me with concern. "You sure you're okay, hubby? Fighting those 3 must have been crazy." I chuckled. "It was crazy, but I'm tougher than I look." I stretched my shoulders, feeling the ache of battle but refusing to show it. Otakimaru was the strongest, though. He almost had me, but I managed to take him down. Kurika smirked. "Almost, hey? Looks like you need more training, hubby." Before I could respond, Psycho reached for the Aim no Murakumo strapped to my back. I quickly stopped her. "Careful. This isn't just any sword, it's dangerous." Her pout was almost enough to make me laugh. "But it's Aim no Murakumo. I just want to see it." Sighing, I placed the sword on the table. Fine, but don't touch it. The room was filled with awe as they stared at the legendary blade. Even Lara, my girlfriend and an adventurer who had seen more than her fair share of relics, looked mesmerized. Her auburn hair shimmered in the soft light as she muttered, "So, this is the aim no Murakumo." As they admired the sword, my stomach growled loudly, breaking the moment. "I'm hungry," I admitted, scratching the back of my head sheepishly. The tailed beasts within me materialized in their chibi forms, snickering. "We're hungry too." Rhea and Medusa chuckled at my antics. Medusa, my other wife and someone who once carried a curse so cruel it turned people to stone with a glance, smiled warmly. "Dinner will be ready soon," she said before heading to the kitchen with Rhea. While the others stayed to marvel at the sword, I made my way to the children's room. Opening the door quietly, I saw the twins sleeping peacefully. Their small hands clutched the stuffed animals I brought back from my last mission. Seeing them like this, it reminded me why I fought so hard. Back in the living room, I leaned against the doorway, watching my family. My wives, my girlfriend, my kids, all of them were here because of the choices I made. Choices to protect, to fight, and to never give up. The giant fox voice echoed in my mind. "You've come a long way, kid. From that lonely brat in Konoha to this. It's almost enough to make me proud." "Almost," I teased. The fox snorted. "Don't let it get to your head." I smiled, glancing at the sword on the table. This journey was far from over. The keys, the battles, the sacrifices, they all lay ahead. But for now, I had a home, a family, and a reason to keep going. This was my new life. And I would do everything in my power to keep it safe. To be continued. Chapter 27, Chapter 27. From battlefield to ramen nights. Later that night, he found himself unable to sleep. The pulsating light from the orb made him restless, so he grabbed his jacket and headed out for a walk. The night was eerily silent, with the occasional rustle of leaves breaking the stillness. In his room, Satria sat cross-legged on Riverside, appreciated the offering from Peter Parker. "It's a Happy Meal packet." As he bit into the hamburger, a faint rumble broke the peaceful ambience. His senses sharpened instantly. He stood, scanning the area. The sound grew louder, turning into the pounding of hooves against the ground. From the shadows of the nearby forest, a grotesque figure emerged, a stray devil with the head of a horse and a humanoid body, its eyes glowing with unholy hunger. "Eat! Eat!" "Hungry," the creature roared, its voice guttural and distorted. Satria sighed, placing the empty Happy Meal box gently on the ground. "Figures. I can't even enjoy a meal in peace." The stray devil lunged. "Dark platinum, cover fire." Satria's stand materialized, its fists igniting with black flames as it unleashed a barrage of fiery punches. "Aura! Aura! Aura! Aura!" Each blow pushed the creature back until it slammed into the far wall, leaving a crater behind. Satria approached, his eyes cold. "Any last words?" The stray devil groaned, its voice weak. "Please, kill me." He hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "Gladly." With a swift standing kick, he decapitated the creature, its body collapsing in a heap. "Rest in peace, poor soul." He set the remains ablaze with a snap of his fingers, watching solemnly as the flames consumed the body. Suddenly, he felt a presence. "Show yourself, I know you're watching me." From the shadows emerged a silver-haired girl in a rebellious outfit, her smirk as sharp as her gaze. "Interesting," she purred. "A human capable of defeating a stray devil with invisible force. What are you?" Satria raised an eyebrow. "Who the hell is this? Never saw her in DxD." Even the black dragon was puzzled. "Fatalis, she's not in your memories either. Be cautious, brother. Polite introductions come first, lady," Satria replied casually. The girl chuckled. Fair enough. My name is Valyana, wielder of the Divine Dividing, one of the Longinus. You may know me better as the Vanishing Dragon, Albion's host. Satria's smirk faltered for a moment. Wait, Vali, is a girl here? What kind of is this? Fatalis, unexpected, indeed. Since you're introducing yourself, Satria began, stepping forward, I'll do the same. My name is Shidou Matsumi, but call me Shin. I'm a 16-year-old high school boy you can find everywhere. My hobby is not your business. My dislike is not your business. My dream is not your business too. Nice to meet you. Valyana blinked, then scowled. That explains nothing, you bastard. Before she could say more, Albion's voice resonated in her mind. Careful, Valyana. There's something inside him, something dark and powerful. It might even surpass my strength. Valyana crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing. Fight me, Shin. Show me what you're hiding. __. Special quest for Shin. Defeat the White Dragon Emperor in duel. God of Hope, Does your world even have a White Dragon Emperor too? Batman Jr., can you live stream this fight? I'm curious to see what you've got. Ice Sadist, at God, do you know who this White Dragon Emperor is? God of Hope, oh, I do. He's a battle maniac and one of the wielders of the 13 Longinus. King of Knights, Longinus. God of Hope, in simple terms, Longinus are weapons created by the God of the Bible to protect humanity from supernatural forces. Think of them as divine cheat codes. Spider-Man, do you think my world has anything like that? Batman Jr., a weapon created by the God of the Bible? Knowing my world's track record, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Kazuma-sama, forget that. Where's the live stream? I want to see Shin get his ass kicked. Shin, I'll kick your ass first before she can kick my ass, and sure, behold my awesomeness. Satria sighed as he accepted the inevitable. With a single tap, he activated the live stream function, connecting to the group chat. Standing in an open clearing, the imposing figure of the White Dragon Emperor, Vali, loomed over him. Her silver hair swayed in the wind, and her icy blue eyes gleamed with excitement. The air crackled with anticipation as her aura radiated raw power. I already saw this coming. A battle maniac, of course, Satria thought, sweat dropping at the situation. Who? Valyana smirked, her tone teasing yet challenging. So, what do you say? Shall we begin? Satria scratched the back of his head, feigning disinterest. Yeah, about that. What's in it for me if I win? Honestly, fighting isn't my thing. I'd rather be in bed cuddling with her or playing Blue Archive right now than wasting time punching people. Vala's grin widened. If you win, you can do anything you want to me. Her voice dripped with confidence, and her eyes glimmered with the pride of a dragon. The comment sent the chat into an uproar. __. Pervert sage, he, Shin-kun, you lucky dog. Can you ask her to model for my next book? Amelia, disgusting. A pervert is an enemy to all women. God of Hope, wait, Val is a woman in this world? What the hell? King of Knights, control yourself, pervert sage, or you'll regret it. Evil spirits, Ara shall I join you if we need to punish this lecher? Pervert sage, I am sorry. You okay? It's not right, lady, to offer yourself like that. Satria's voice was tinged with faux seriousness as he crossed his arms. Then, with a sly grin, he added, what if I, do something to your body if I win? He licked his lips dramatically and made an exaggerated perverted hand gesture, hoping to unsettle her. The chat instantly erupted. _. Evil spirit, this guy is no better than pervert sage and trash Zuma. Kazuma-sama, excuse me. I'm not that bad. Pervert sage, Shinkun knows how to seize opportunities in adversity. A true inspiration. God of hope, I take back what I said. I thought he was a decent guy. Spider-Man, he's weird, but he's our weird guy. Pervert sage, he's a man of culture. Don't judge him too harshly. Honestly, I'm proud of him. Batman Jr., this guy's hopeless. Valyana tilted her head, completely unfazed by Satria's antics. Instead, she smiled, a mix of challenge and amusement in her expression. I don't mind. We dragons always search for worthy males to be our mates. If you win, you can do anything you want to me. Anything. Before Satria could respond, she stepped back, and her body glowed with a radiant light. Her figure began to shift and grow, scales glistening as her balance breaker form emerged. White metal wings unfurled behind her, and her piercing eyes gleamed with anticipation. Prepare yourself. Satria's jaw slackened, and a bead of sweat trickled down his forehead. Wait, hell. I was just trying to scare her. Now she's even more pumped to fight me. He took a deep breath and readied his stance, muttering under his breath, note to self, don't poke the dragon. Literally. Fatalis, are you an idiot, brother? Of course not. No choice. Satria shrugged off her criticism and summoned his driver and belt. He stood firm and shouted, Henshin. A burst of energy enveloped him, and his body was covered in sleek, black armor. Valyana tilted her head, intrigued by his transformation. That's an interesting sacred gear you've got there. What's its name? Satria smirked. Its name is. Not your business, he replied coolly, fully aware that he was only irritating her further. Valyana's brow twitched. Bastard! Don't mock me, she shouted, dashing toward him with incredible speed. Satria observed Valyana's charging form with the calm precision of a battlefield tactician. She's fast, but predictable. Overcommit to frontal attacks. Let's see if she can handle disruption. Dark Platinum, stop time. Satria's voice cut through the air, and everything froze. In the suspended moment, he sidestepped her strike with ease, then landed a precise left elbow to her stomach. Time will resume, he said as the world returned to motion. Ugh! Valyana cried out as the force of his blow sent her flying. Her armor cracked and splintered from the impact, blood dripping from the corners of her mouth. She coughed violently. What was that? I couldn't even see him move. Spider-Man, he doesn't hold back, even against women. Kazuma-sama, he's one of my kind. Go, Shin. Teach that bad girl a lesson. God of hope, is he, stopping time? Ice sadist, you noticed, hey? Batman Jr., wait, what? Is stopping time even possible? Evil spirits, of course, it's possible. Valyana stood, shaking off the pain. You're fast, she admitted grudgingly. But let's see how you handle this. She took to the air, unleashing a barrage of demonic energy blasts. Satria remained calm. Classic zoning technique. She's trying to force me into a bad position. He analyzed her attack pattern like a pro player reading an opponent's lane strategy. He dashed through the gaps in her blasts with precise footwork, closing the distance. You're not the only one who knows how to zone, he shouted, slamming his card into his drag visor. Strike vent. A black dragon bow materialized, and he fired a high arc arrow into the sky. The arrow burst midair, raining black projectiles toward Valyana. Albion, brace yourself. Albion's voice echoed in her mind as she conjured an energy shield to withstand the arrow storm. Too easy, she muttered, unaware that Satria had already closed the distance. Lesson 1, never lose track of your enemy, Satria said, appearing at her side. He delivered a Silat Tepuk Salasi, palm strike, reinforced by his mastery of momentum, aiming directly for her ribs. The impact sent her crashing to the ground. __. Chatroom reactions. Batman Jr., that's some next level baiting. He used the arrows as a distraction. God of Hope, he's good. Divide the enemy's attention, exploit positioning, and strike where it hurts. Kazuma-sama, stop making him sound cool. He's just lucky. Evil spirit, Era, someone sounds jealous. __. Valyuna staggered to her feet, gritting her teeth. I've had enough. I won't lose to you. Her body began to glow ominously. Albion, Juggernaut Drive, she'll use it here of all places. Hey, crazy girl! Satria called out. No need to blow up the town for a sparring match. Shut up, she snapped, continuing her chant, who shall awaken? Satria sighed. Dark Platinum, stop time. As the world froze, he calmly walked over and in one seamless motion, he shifted his weight, coiling his body like a spring, and released a devastating punch aimed directly at Valyuna's midsection. Black Dragon Shoot. The punch connected with explosive fire force, carrying the weight of his momentum and martial precision. The impact unleashed a shockwave that shattered the remaining pieces of her armor and sent her flying across the battlefield, skidding to a halt several meters away. Valyuna coughed, her body trembling as she struggled to stand. How, what was that? Satria walked over, looking down at her with an expression of calm confidence. The Black Dragon Shoot. A move designed to end fights decisively. And guess what? It worked. As reality resumed, Valyuna crumpled to the ground, glaring up at him in frustration. You coward! At least let me finish transforming. __. Ice sadist, why should he wait for you to power up? Foolish girl! Pervert sage, that's what I'm talking about. Black Dragon Shoot for the win. Batman Jr., unbelievable, his form was flawless. That wasn't just raw power. That was art. Spider-Man, she didn't stand a chance against that. Kazuma-sama, ha! That's how you teach a bad girl a lesson. King of Night, what a gentleman. Beats her up and then gives her a pep talk. Evil spirit, Era, he's surprisingly thoughtful after all that destruction. God of Hope, he's a warrior, through and through. I'd spar with him myself if I could. _. Satria crossed his arms and turned off the live stream, shaking his head at the absurdity of the situation. You think I'd let you transform and destroy the whole town? You really take me for an idiot, hey? He sweat dropped and poked Valyuna's forehead with his fingers. Checkmate. Valyuna gritted her teeth, visibly frustrated, but there was a hint of respect in her eyes. Damn it! Even if your methods are underhanded, I can't deny you one fair and square. She looked up at him, crossing her arms. So? What do you want from me? Satria smirked and shrugged, his tone light. Relax. I was just messing with you earlier. Are you okay? He extended a hand to her, his expression softening. Valyuna blinked, momentarily caught off guard. Her cheeks turned a faint shade of pink as she grabbed his hand and let him pull her up. Yeah, I'm fine, mostly, she muttered, brushing herself off. So, Satria asked, what's the plan now? Valyuna shrugged, her casual demeanor masking her fatigue. No idea. My schedule's clear tonight. He chuckled and tilted his head. How about ramen? My treat. Valyuna's eyes lit up at the word ramen. Her exhaustion vanished in an instant, replaced by an almost childlike excitement. Seriously? Ramen? Of course, let's go. I know a great place nearby. Without waiting for a response, she grabbed his hand and started dragging him along, her injuries momentarily forgotten. Albion, this is unexpected. She's acting like a completely different person. Shut up, Valyana snapped internally, though her blush deepened as she realized how giddy she felt. Satria, meanwhile, chuckled at her enthusiasm but quickly noticed her uneven steps and the occasional wince she tried to hide. He tugged her to a stop. Hold on, Valyana. We need to take care of those injuries first. Hey! She blinked, then grimaced as the adrenaline began to wear off, and the pain returned. Ouch, yeah, maybe you're right. Can you help me, Shin? She looked up at him with wide, pleading eyes, the kind of puppy dog expression that would make most people cave instantly. Satria sighed, shaking his head with a small smile. Without warning, he scooped her up into a bridal carry. Ready to go, princess, he teased, grinning at her stunned expression. Her face turned bright red, and she immediately tried to cover it with her hands. Wah-ya! What was I thinking, asking him to help like that? Now he's carrying me like this? He's too close. Wait, he's actually kind of cute up close, and his body. Her gaze flickered to his arms. Muscular. Really muscular. And he called me princess? How dare he? She squirmed slightly but couldn't bring herself to push away. Why can't I be mad at him? This feels nice. Despite herself, she let out a small giggle. Fatalis, is this your true plan, brother? Plan? What plan? Satria frowned, confused. Fatalis, oh, nothing. Just, good luck. Valyana's embarrassment didn't stop her from giving directions to her favorite ramen spot, her voice quieter than usual as she adjusted to being carried. Satria, on the other hand, carried her with ease, amused by her shifting expressions but saying nothing. As they walked under the glowing lights of the city, Satria couldn't help but smile. This unexpected turn of events felt strangely enjoyable. To be continued. Chapter 28, Chapter 28. Bound by speed, torn by dragons. Now, two figures stood opposite each other, their auras clashing in an unspoken battle for dominance. Underscore. Mission complete. Rewards. 12,000 for Shin and surprise box. Shin coins, 27,500. Phew, I looked away for a while, and you're having an affair with this bitch. Kiyohime said with a dangerous smile, her eyes narrowing like a predator eyeing its prey. What did you say, you damn snake? Valyana snapped, returning the glare. What you heard, you half-bitch, Kiyohime replied, her tone dripping with venom. Satria sighed. Ha! I shouldn't have left the house earlier. Valyana smirked, clearly enjoying the chaos. Oh? Should I tell her how you invited me here? Your darling hubby said something quite interesting during our fight. Kiyohime's gaze shot to Satria, her smile now terrifyingly serene. Oh? And what exactly did my dear husband say? Valyana crossed her arms, her smirk growing. He looked me right in the eyes and said, if I win, what if I do something to your body? Such bold words, don't you think? Kiyohime's aura darkened, her smile still plastered on her face as she called him. Satria. Yes, ma'am. He stepping toward her like a guilty soldier reporting to his commander. Explain, she demanded, her voice sweet but filled with menace. Satria gulped, glancing between the two women. Why, you see, it was just a bluff. A tactic to scare her so I could end the fight quickly and go home. That's all. He gestured wildly, desperately trying to defend himself. Kiyohime's glare didn't waver. Is that so? Yes. He nodded fervently. But, things escalated, and here we are. Ara, Kiyohime tilted her head, her smile softening but no less threatening. Danasama, you know it's rude to look away when someone's talking to you. Satria flinched but reluctantly met her intense gaze. Why yes, dear. Her expression darkened further. Good. I'll be teaching you a little lesson about proper behavior later. Satria's shoulders slumped in defeat, but before he could sigh in relief, Kiyohime turned her attention to Valyana. And you, she said, her tone icy, let's have a little chat. Privately. Valyana's smirk faltered as she felt the weight of Kiyohime's words. Tch, fine. I'm not scared of you, snake. Oh, you should be, Kiyohime replied, her smile unervingly sweet. But don't worry, I'll educate you thoroughly. Shin, can you put me down now? Valyana's voice was calm but firm, breaking the silence. You sure? Satria glanced down at her, his brow furrowing. You're injured. Valyana sighed. Just do it. Reluctantly, Satria crouched and gently set her down on the smooth stone floor. Valyana reached into her pocket and retrieved a small vial filled with a glowing amber liquid. What's that? Satria asked, narrowing his eyes at the unfamiliar item. Valyana held it up with a faint smirk. Phoenix Tears. A special healing potion created by the Phoenix clan. She uncorked the vial and carefully poured the liquid over her injuries. The effect was instantaneous. Cuts closed, bruises faded, and her strength visibly returned. Satria stared in disbelief. Wait. If you had that on you the whole time, why didn't you just use it earlier? You made me carry you all the way here. Valyana shrugged nonchalantly, stretching her now healed limbs. Because, she said with a sly grin, it's a man's duty to take care of a lady in need, right? Satria scoffed, crossing his arms. Right. Of course. Women are always right in every world. Let's settle our problem now, snake. Valyana grinned, brushing a strand of hair from her face. The tension between Kiyohime and Valyana was palpable in the open field, a dramatic clash of power unfolding before them. The air crackled with raw energy as Kiyohime stood tall, her naginata gleaming with deadly intent, blue fire dancing around her like an inferno. Her eyes were narrowed, fixated on her target, Valyana. You'll regret this, Kiyohime warned, her voice sharp and full of venom. I'm not going to let anyone steal my Danasama. Valyana smirked, unfazed by the threat. Her stance was relaxed, confident even. Who says I'm going to steal him? We can share him, you damn snake, balance breaker. She entered her balance breaker, the transformation surrounding her in a burst of radiant energy, her power now fully unleashed. Albion, be careful, her power right now is equal to Azazel. Valyana's grin only widened. That makes it more fun for me. Without warning, Kiyohime lashed out, summoning a fierce dragon of blue fire. It roared through the air, its ethereal form burning with the fury of Kiyohime's rage. The fire chased Valyana, undeterred by her evasion, as though it had its own consciousness, a sentient force bound to Kiyohime's will. What is this fire? Valyana thought, narrowly dodging the fiery beast. It feels alive. Like it's targeting me intentionally. The sensation sent a shiver down her spine, but she wasn't about to back down. She increased her speed, dashing directly toward Kiyohime, her eyes glinting with excitement. The closer she got, the more the blue fire roared behind her, but she welcomed the challenge. Come, Kiyohime purred, her eyes glowing with madness. Isn't it time to burn away all your worldly troubles? Ah, Danasama, please watch me kill this bitch, okay? The malice in her voice was unmistakable as she dashed forward with the naginata raised high. The moment their weapons collided, the sound was deafening, and the shockwave created by their clash shattered the earth beneath them. Trees near the impact zone were reduced to cinders, the very forest seemingly reacting to their overwhelming power. The fiery dragon continued its relentless pursuit, the forest now a battleground between two fierce warriors. Satria, from his vantage point behind a tree far away, watched with wide eyes. His heart raced as the chaos unfolded. Damn it, he thought. Why do I have to be the one hiding behind a tree like some coward? Fatalis, you're just a coward. Satria huffed, irritated by the comment. I'm not a coward. I'm thinking rationally. A man cannot interfere in a woman's conflict. He glanced back at the battle, watching the destruction and the intensity of the fight. Part of him wanted to jump in, to do something, but he knew better. This was their fight. He couldn't make it his own. As he sulked behind the tree, an idea popped into his head. Wait. He suddenly remembered the surprise box he had been carrying around, the one he hadn't opened yet. Maybe it was time to check it out. Satria grinned, a plan forming in his mind. Maybe this is my chance to get something useful out of that box. He eager to see what the mysterious surprise was, hoping it would be just the thing to help him out of this situation. Meanwhile, the battle between Kiyohime and Valyana raged on, neither willing to back down. Congratulations! You get Speed Force. Description: Speed Force is an extra-dimensional form of dark matter energy that provides super speed and power to time travel through a Speed Force connection. Fatalis, no way! How the hell can he get this skills in such a situation? The Black Dragon voice echoed in his mind, disbelief coloring her tone. Satria grinned, excitement bubbling inside him. This is exactly what I needed. He quickly read the description again, his eyes lighting up. Speed Force. The ability to move at unimaginable speeds, even traveling through time? This was beyond anything he could have imagined. Now, time to test this cool ability, baby. With a snap of his fingers, Satria transformed into his Calamity Rider form, dark lightning crackling around his body, the energy of the Speed Force surging through him. Fatalis, wait! Don't use this power without preparation, puppy! In an instant, he zoomed across the world, his body a blur of motion as he felt the power of Speed Force flowing through him. He laughed, exhilarated. It's fucking awesome! He couldn't help himself, the feeling of moving faster than anyone or anything was overwhelming. But then, panic set in. I can't stop! I can't stop, damn it! Satria realized with a shock that he was completely out of control. His speed was too much for him to handle. He rushed through the world, barely aware of his surroundings, the uncontrollable speed making it impossible for him to halt his momentum. Meanwhile, in a secluded area, a black-haired girl kissed an orange-haired boy, unaware of the chaos approaching. Mizuhara. I love. The moment Satria zipped through the scene, everything went wrong. He was moving so fast that the shockwave from his speed caused a disaster. The orange-haired boy, who had been caught in the middle of the kiss, was suddenly covered in blood. People around them were too stunned to process what had happened. It was all too much for them to understand in that split second. I'm sorry. I can't stop. Satria said as he sped away, unable to control his trajectory. The orange-haired man, completely shocked, collapsed to the ground, unconscious. OMG. Sorry, dude, this is an incident. Wait. Let me fix this. Panicking, Satria quickly activated his Osiris ring and, with a flick of his wrist, resurrected the man's girlfriend. Goodbye and sorry for bumping into you. Damn it, I didn't expect this ability to be so hard to control, Satria muttered to himself, feeling a guilt twist in his stomach. Fatalis, that's why I told you to prepare first, idiot. But no, you never listen. Yes, I get it now. Satria groaned, already regretting his recklessness. I messed up, okay? I'll fix it. To gain control over his new abilities, Satria spent the next several minutes training, his speed growing exponentially with each attempt. He circled the world 7 times in just 1 second, each lap bringing him closer to mastering his new power. Soon, he could vibrate his molecules at the atomic level, allowing him to pass through solid objects. After his intense training, he returned to where Kiyohime and Valyana were still clashing in the field, their battle showing no sign of slowing down. Valyana's power had reached its peak, her form glowing with newfound strength as she shouted, "I'm about to be awakened. I am the heavenly dragon who lost all the principles of supremacy. I envy the infinite, and I pursue the dream. I shall become the white dragon of supremacy, and I shall take you to the limit of innocence." Her voice rang out, carrying the full weight of her transformation. She rushed toward Kiyohime with incredible speed, her power surging with each step. Kiyohime grinned fiercely, a wicked gleam in her eyes as she summoned the full force of her magic. "Come here, let me burn you into crisps, bitch," she shouted, preparing to unleash her ultimate attack, Dojoji Bell, Method 108, Fire Dragon Mower. She swung her naginata in a wide arc, flames roaring to life, ready to trap Valyana in the bell and turn her into ash. But Satria wasn't about to let that happen. In the blink of an eye, he arrived between them, faster than either of them could react. His fist collided with Valyana's attack, stopping her dead in her tracks. Before Kiyohime could react, Satria swept her off the ground, locking her in a rear wrist lock. "Shin!" Valyana gasped, unable to predict his move. Kiyohime, equally stunned, stared up at him, bewildered. How fast is this man? What's the secret behind his power? Who is he really? Questions filled her mind as she tried to process what had just happened. "Dana-sama," Kiyohime whispered, confusion in her voice. "Why?" Satria's voice was calm, but there was an undeniable authority in it. "I don't want you both to hurt each other more than this. Let's talk about this like civilized people, okay?" With his super speed, Satria had ended the battle before it could escalate further, his presence commanding the attention of both women. Now, it was time to find a resolution to this conflict without more bloodshed. The atmosphere at the ramen shop was a mix of tension and delicious aroma. Satria slurped his noodles nonchalantly, but the tension between the two women sitting across from him was palpable. Kiyohime glared at Valyana, her fingers tapping the table impatiently. "This white dragon here is from the Grigori. We can't let her meddle in our lives, Dana-sama. She's nothing but trouble." Valyana's eye twitched. "Excuse me? Who do you think you're talking about, snake woman?" Satria raised a hand to calm them. "Relax, relax. Don't worry about that. Valyana's not with the Grigori anymore. She's a traitor, right? Chaos Brigade, if I'm not mistaken." Valyana froze, her chopsticks halting mid-air. Her yellow eyes widened in disbelief. "How do you know that?" Satria shrugged. "Just a hunch. You don't exactly scream loyalist. And considering your unique hobbies of picking fights with random strong people, it wasn't hard to guess." Valyana recovered quickly and smirked. "Humph. You're right. I have no loyalty to the Grigori or the Chaos Brigade. They're both boring, and I do what I want. I only seek out worthy opponents. And you?" She leaned closer, her voice dropping. "You defeated me, so that makes you mine now. My mate, my responsibility." Satria sighed deeply, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Why me? Why is my life like this?" Kiyohime pointed her chopsticks at Valyana. "You're nothing but trouble. Dana-sama deserves better than some reckless, white-scaled delinquent." Valyana smirked, unfazed. "And yet, here I am, sitting with him. You can't change the fact that I'm part of his life." He set his chopsticks down and looked at both of them with wide, innocent puppy dog eyes. "Please, can you two stop fighting? Can't you just get along? For me." Kiyohime and Valyana froze. The sheer vulnerability in his expression struck them like a lightning bolt. Kia-him's cheeks flushed as she looked away, her voice faltering. Fine. If that's what Danasama wants. Valyana crossed her arms but sighed in defeat. Tch, all right. But only because you asked. Satria smiled, relieved. Thank you. That wasn't so hard, was it? Kiyohime puffed her cheeks slightly, still avoiding eye contact. But I'm still the first wife. And I'm the one who's going to take his virginity. Valyana smirked, leaning back. First wife, huh? Fine, you can have that title. But I'll be the one who gets his heart and his future battles. Satria groaned, rubbing his temples. Why do I feel like I'm losing no matter what? The shop owner chuckled from behind the counter. Sounds like a lively household you're building there, kid. Don't encourage them. Satria shot back, but it was drowned out by Kiyohime and Valyana's renewed bickering, now a little less hostile and a little more playful. For now, at least, peace had been restored sort of. To be continued. Chapter 29, Chapter 29. The Flying Greens. 5 days have passed since the incident between Kiyohime and Valyana. The scene unfolded in front of Kyoah Academy, leaving the students gawking in disbelief. Valyana, wearing an elegant black suit that complemented her refined aura, stepped out of a sleek, expensive sports car. Her presence exuded power and sophistication as she confidently approached Satria, holding a bouquet of gold-coated roses. She walked up to Satria, who was standing near the school gate, and handed him a bouquet of gold-coated roses with a slight smile. Here, for you, my love. Satria blinked, staring at the bouquet in her hand, and then at her, his brain short-circuiting for a moment. What the fuck do you think I am? He blurted out, his voice laced with equal parts embarrassment and indignation. The students murmured amongst themselves. Is that Shin-sama? The ice prince of Kyoah? And who's she? Is that his older girlfriend? Before Satria could even react, Valyana opened the car door for him with a charming smile. After you, she said, her tone casual yet commanding. Satria froze. His pride as an Indonesian man took a heavy blow. What the hell is going on? He hesitated before finally sliding into the car, his face flushed with embarrassment. Inside, he muttered under his breath, why am I the one being treated like the heroine here? Valyana chuckled softly, finding his reaction amusing. You're adorable when you're flustered. Don't call me adorable, Satria grumbled, sinking into his seat. As the car drove off, she casually added, let's get some snacks before we go home. After picking up some snacks, Valyana drove them back to Satria's house. The sleek hum of her sports car came to a halt as she parked in the garage. Satria was about to thank her for the ride when, to his bewilderment, Valyana stepped out and began summoning belongings from a blue portal. Bags, suitcases, and even an ornate weapon rack stacked neatly on his front porch as if this were the most natural thing in the world. Satria blinked, utterly dumbfounded. What are you doing? Valyana, calm as ever, casually placed a suitcase against the doorframe before meeting his gaze. Unloading my stuff. Why? His voice cracked with disbelief. She tilted her head, her tone cool and straightforward. What's wrong? This is my new home, right? My what? Satria is shocked. Since when did we agree to this? Valyana crossed her arms, smirking slightly. Since you defeated me. You're my mate now. Soulmates should live together, it's common sense. Satria pinched the bridge of his nose, groaning. No, that's not how it works. You can't just declare this out of nowhere. It's not nowhere, she countered, brushing past him with a suitcase in hand. It's destiny. You won, so I'm your responsibility now. You're unbelievable. Satria muttered, helplessly watching as she made herself at home. Fatalis, looks like you've got a new roommate. Good luck, puppy. Satria groaned. Why do I feel like my life is turning into a bad rom-com? Valyana smirked as she began organizing her things. Oh, don't be so dramatic. You'll get used to it. Satria POV. Kiyohime had settled beside me, looking unusually refreshed. Her calm demeanor and playful banter with Valyana were a stark contrast to what Satria had endured earlier. Yes, after she punished me. He shivered at the memory, swallowing hard. I don't want to talk about it. It's hell. Pure, scary hell. His mind replayed her chilling words, "You're lucky your Osiris ring is on cooldown. If it weren't, I'd kill you and resurrect you just so I could punish you again." He shuddered. Meanwhile, Valyana stood nearby, holding an odd device in her hand. What's that? Satria asked, happy to focus on anything else. It's a Grigori device, she answered casually, spinning the gadget in her hand. There's a raiding game happening right now in the underworld, Rias Gremari vs Riser Phoenix. I thought I'd watch it to see how my so-called rival handles things. Kiyohime raised her eyebrows. Your rival? The Red Dragon Emperor? I've met him before, he's just an ordinary kid who unfortunately got dragged into this. Obviously. Valyana shrugged. It was a pain to get this from that perverted old man, but it'll be worth it. Well, that makes two of us. I'm curious about this too, Satria said. I hope it was worth it to teach him those basic techniques. Valyana blinked, clearly surprised. Wait. You taught him how to fight? Satria waved a hand nonchalantly. Only a little. After he did Dogza in front of me, it's my way of appreciating his determination. Flashback. Satria, like usual, was in his favorite spot at Kyoa Academy relaxing and basking in the peace until Issei interrupted, practically bouncing with excitement. Shin-sama, I can't believe it. You're the author of the holy book. Issei exclaimed, clutching a well-worn copy of Ika Ika Paradise to his chest. His wide-eyed awe was almost embarrassing. Satria groaned, pinching the bridge of his nose. Just call me what you usually do. I'm not comfortable with all this formal stuff, brother. Okay, Shin-san. But, why would you tell me this? Issei tilted his head, clearly confused. Why reveal your sacred identity as the creator of this masterpiece? Satria smirked and pulled out a notebook. Simple. I need you to review this book for me. Issei froze, staring at him in disbelief. Wait, what? You heard me. Jiraiya-sensei needs inspiration and feedback for the next volume, so I figured you'd be the perfect man for the job. Satria leaned in with a mischievous glint in his eyes. Prove to me that you're the true master of perverts. Do you accept this mission? Tears welled in Issei's eyes as he clutched the notebook like it was a divine artifact. You're entrusting me with this sacred duty? This book isn't even sold on the black market. Of course, I'll do it. You don't even need to pay me, Shin-san. Good. Satria extended a hand. From now on, we're comrades. The two shook hands firmly. By the way, Satria asked, leaning against the rooftop railing, how's life with the devils treating you? Issei's face fell. There's a problem. Rias-senpai's being forced to marry someone named Riser. He's from a big underworld family, the Phoenix clan. His peerage is too strong. I don't know how to beat him and save her. Satria scratched his chin thoughtfully. How about I give you a quick lesson in fighting? Consider it payment for reviewing my work. Issei's jaw dropped. You're serious? Of course. Stand up and get ready. Issei scrambled to his feet as Satria zipped away with blinding speed, returning moments later with a box of chalk. He started drawing a grid of circles across the rooftop with precise, practiced movements. When he was done, Issei blinked in confusion. What's this for, Shin-san? Satria grinned, stepping into one of the chalk-drawn circles. We're going to play a game. Here's the rule, you can only step into one circle at a time. No sacred gear abilities. Let me show you. With fluid grace, Satria darted through the grid, placing one foot in each circle with uncanny precision. Your turn, he said, stepping back to watch. Issei tried to mimic him but failed spectacularly. His movements were clumsy, his feet constantly overshooting or missing the circles entirely. Satria sighed. Not bad for a first try, but you're wasting too much energy. Let's add a challenge. Now we'll play tag. The rules are the same, 1 foot per circle, no powers. First to touch the other wins. Before Issei could even prepare, Satria blurred forward, tapping him on the shoulder. Issei gawked. I didn't even see you move. Satria smirked. Do you know the point of this game? Issei shook his head. Positioning, Satria explained. My father always said, wars are won by positioning. Get within the right distance first, and you've already won half the battle. This game teaches you how to shift your weight and move efficiently. Issei's eyes lit up with understanding. I see. You're amazing, Shin-san. Drake, this brat is something else. Satria patted Issei on the back. Keep practicing. One day, you'll surpass your limits. Flashback end. As the memory faded, Satria smirked at Valyana. See? I only taught him the basics. It's up to him to do the rest. Valyana tilted her head, a glint of amusement in her eyes. You're either a genius, or insane. Kiyohime, sipping her tea, chimed in with a sly grin. Or both. Issei POV. Issei admired the gym's intricate design, noting how it mirrored the real world. This is a really good replica, he mused aloud. Konako immediately hushed him. SSST. Someone's here, she whispered, covering his mouth. From the shadows, 4 of Riser's peerage members stepped forward. We know you're there, servants of Gremory, one of them announced, weapons at the ready. Konako glanced at Issei. You take the pawn, I'll handle the rooks. Leave it to me. The Riser pawn lunged at Issei with a chainsaw, but her movements were sluggish and overextended. Issei easily sidestepped the attack, his training paying off. Too slow. They waste way too much movement, Issei thought, smirking. He decided to test a technique he'd been refining. This is the perfect chance. With a giggle, Issei evaded the attacks and lightly touched the twin pawns, confusing them. What are you? Issei snapped his fingers, striking a dramatic pose. Now, let me show you my power, dress break. In an instant, their clothes vanished. Kya! Pervert! Satria doubled over, laughing uncontrollably as the girls on screen scrambled to cover themselves. What a wonderful rival you have, Valyana! Wahahaha! Valyana buried her face in her hands. Why him? Why is he my rival? Kiyohime shook her head, her tone incredulous. You're actually proud to have this pervert as your rival. Konako watched the aftermath of Issei's attack with a deadpan expression. I misjudged you, she said flatly. Their opponents glared at him. You're the worst. Issei rubbed the back of his head, grinning awkwardly. Hee, sorry. Just as they were about to leave, lightning struck the gym, taking out the remaining Riser pawns. We did it, Konako-chan. Issei cheered, raising his hand for a high five. Don't touch me. Konako sidestepped, keeping her distance. Before either could react, an attack hit Konako from behind, forcing her to retire. Watching the stream, Satria's aura flared. His favorite kitten had been hurt, and for a moment, he forgot it was only a game. Valyana noticed his reaction. What's wrong? Why are you so angry? Satria exhaled deeply, trying to calm himself. She's my friend. It just feels wrong to see her hurt. Kia Him's sharp gaze turned to him. Her smile was sweet, but her tone was anything but. Oh? Really? And just how close is this friend? And no. It's not like that. Satria waved his hands defensively. Valyana wasn't convinced. She's Kurika's sister, isn't she? You're not hiding anything suspicious, are you? Of course not. Satria avoided her gaze, trying to change the subject. We'll see. Kia Him's smile didn't waver. While Kaiba clashed with Riser's knight, Issei faced Isabella, a brown-haired powerhouse. Your opponent is me, Isabella declared, charging at him with fierce punches. Issei dodged her attacks, surprised by her strength. What the hell? This is just a game. Between blows, Isabella smirked. I'm special. I'm Riser-sama's little sister. Issei blinked. Wait, you can make your sister your servant? Damn, I'm jealous. Enough chit-chat. Isabella roared, pressing her assault. Issei activated his boosted gear, counting down. It's been 150 seconds, time for the explosion. His sacred gear glowed green as he prepared his counterattack. Darting in, he touched her lightly, confusing her. What are you? Dress break, he declared, rendering her defenseless. Isabella screamed, trying to cover herself as Issei followed up with a dragon shot, sending her flying. Satria shook his head, impressed. Interesting tactic. But that only works against women. Valyana scowled. Why does my rival have to be this perverted brat? Satria chuckled, placing a hand on her shoulder. Careful, Valyana. If you face him, you might end up like those girls. His tone turned teasing. But don't worry, I'll protect you. Valyana huffed. Idiot. I don't need your protection. Satria smirked, his arms wrapping possessively around Valyana as he pulled her onto his lap. He hugged her from behind, his voice low and teasing. Is it so wrong to want to protect the girl who loves me? Valyana opened her mouth to retort, but before she could, Satria leaned in and nipped playfully at her neck. The sudden gesture left her cheeks flushed and her words caught in her throat. She crossed her arms, turning her face away in a huff, though the faint blush betrayed her. Kia Him's eyes narrowed at the display, a pout forming on her lips. That's not fair, she exclaimed, crossing her arms indignantly. Valyana smirked, her confidence returning as she saw Kia Him's reaction. Oh? Is this perhaps my win? She teased, her tone dripping with playful triumph. The tension escalated as Kiyohime stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. In your dreams. Do you think I'll let you take all the credit? The two began bickering, their voices overlapping as they argued over who had the upper hand. Satria sighed, shaking his head but smiling all the same. With a quick motion, he wrapped his arms around both of them, pulling them close into his embrace. "SSSTTTT," he whispered, his tone firm but affectionate. "We're family. No more fighting, okay?" Kiyohime and Valyana looked at each other, then at Satria, and couldn't help but chuckle. Their playful rivalry melted into soft laughter as they snuggled closer to him, their previous quarrel forgotten. Satria smiled to himself, savoring the warmth of the moment. "That's more like it," he murmured, holding them both as they settled in his arms. "Where are you going? Don't leave us, hubby." Valyana pouted playfully. Satria stood up, stretching his arms lazily and smiling at her. "I'll be right back, need to visit the toilet," he said casually, walking away from his cozy seat. As soon as he was out of sight, something buzzed, the screen lighting up with a notification from the group chat. Fun quest notification. Catch the flying cabbages heading to Axel. Details. A mysterious outbreak of flying cabbages has invaded Axel. Catch as many as you can before they escape. Special reward for the participant who catches the most cabbages. Requires 4 participants. Join? Yes/no. Spider-Man, flying cabbages? Where's the logic in that? Amelia, oh. That sounds fun. I want to join. Evil Spirit, Ara, this sounds amusing. I'd love to see what kind of creatures these flying cabbages are. Kazuma's world is as weird as he is. Kazuma-sama, hey. Quit calling me weird. My world has its charms. Shin, I'll join too. Sounds like a fun challenge. Satria grinned at the absurdity of the quest. Flying cabbages? Really? He chuckled, scrolling through the messages. The line time will be stopped in participants' worlds, so no harm caught his attention. Well, I've got time to kill. Why not? He muttered, tapping yes. A bright light engulfed him, his surroundings blurring into a swirl of colors. Moments later, he found himself standing on a cobblestone street under a clear blue sky. The lively town of Axel stretched before him, bustling with adventurers and locals going about their day. So, this is Kazuma's world, Satria mused, scanning the area. Satria stepped into the bustling guild hall, the aroma of food and the chatter of adventurers filling the air. The room was lively, with adventurers sharing tales of their quests over mugs of ale. This feels different, Satria murmured, scanning the area. Over here, a cheerful voice called out. Turning toward the source, Satria spotted Peter waving excitedly from a table near the center. Sitting with her were Peter, Kurumi, and a group that he immediately recognized as Kazuma's party. As he approached, Peter grinned. Finally. Took you long enough, buddy. Had to find my bearings, Satria replied, pulling up a chair. He nodded at the others. So, this is Kazuma's infamous world, huh? Seems lively. Satria stood by the table, glancing at the odd mix of people gathered. The mood was lively, and it was clear everyone had their own unique energy. Amelia clapped her hands together, her silver hair shimmering under the light. Before we start, let's all introduce ourselves. It'll be easier to work together that way. Peter nodded. Good call. I'll go first. He stood up, raising a hand casually. Name's Peter Parker. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I've got some web-slinging skills that might come in handy for catching those cabbages. I'm Kurumi Tokisaki. You could call me an observer, but I promise to make this little game entertaining. Her golden and crimson eyes glinted mischievously. Kazuma raised a hand lazily. I'm Kazuma Sato, the leader of this party. Don't let the eccentric group behind me fool you, we get things done. Sometimes, she interjected smugly, puffing her chest out. Kazuma may be the leader, but I am Aqua, the goddess of water and the true powerhouse of this team. You're all lucky to have me. Peter squinted. A goddess? Really? Kazuma groaned. Ignore her. She's more of a liability than a goddess. Hey! Aqua huffed. The blonde female crusader stepped forward, her armor clinking softly. I am Darkness, a crusader sworn to protect the weak and uphold justice. Though my true name is Lalatina, I... No one asked for the full name, Kazuma interrupted, waving her off. She blushed but continued, am ready to face whatever challenges this quest throws at us, even if it means enduring pain for the greater good. Her voice took on a strange excitement. Satria blinked. I feel like there's more to that statement than I want to know. The lowly wizard raised her staff dramatically. I am Megaman, the greatest archwizard and master of explosion magic. My powers are unparalleled, and today, even the cabbages will bow to my might. Kurumi chuckled, her voice teasing. Explosion magic for vegetables? How extravagant! The half-elf smiled warmly, stepping forward. I'm Amelia. I may not have a grand title like some of you, but I'll do my best to help. Pleased to meet you all. Peter smiled. Nice to meet you, Emilia. It's good to see someone grounded here. He gestured to Satria. Your turn, brother. Satria stood confidently before the group, flipping his cloak dramatically, though he didn't actually have one, the gesture was there. He extended an arm as if presenting himself to a crowd of adoring fans. Behold! I am Satria, the Golden Emperor. The conqueror of the multiverse. A being of unparalleled power, destined to reign supreme across all dimensions. He smirked, his tone dripping with theatrical grandeur and unconsciously mentioning his real name. The room fell silent for a moment. Pthahaha! Kazuma doubled over, clutching his stomach. Golden Emperor? Conqueror of the multiverse? What kind of third-rate chunny line is that? Peter tried to keep a straight face but failed, covering his mouth as he laughed. Dude, I've met my share of dramatic people, but this takes the cake. Aqua was laughing so hard she fell backward, slapping the floor. Oh no! I can't breathe. Conqueror of the multiverse. Darkness, ever polite, cleared her throat. Well, that's certainly an impressive title. But even she couldn't hide her amused smile. Kurumi tilted her head with a sly grin, clearly entertained. Oh my, how bold! I wonder, Emperor Satria, how many dimensions have you conquered so far? Iri Bilang boss. Satria refused to back down. That's classified information, but trust me, it's a number you wouldn't believe. Megaman, her competitive spirit ignited, stepped forward and struck a dramatic pose of her own. Ha! As if I, Megaman, the greatest archwizard and wielder of explosion magic, would lose to some golden emperor. My explosions are unrivaled across all realms. Witness my power, and you'll bow before me. Aqua raised her hand, tears of laughter still in her eyes. Now we have two of them. Ha ha ha! Someone! Stop this madness! Kazuma groaned, rubbing his temples. Why do I always end up surrounded by these lunatics? To be continued. Chapter 30, Chapter 30. The Beaver Fury. Who are they, Kazuma-san? The receptionist called Luna asked, her gaze shifting to the group standing behind Kazuma. Kazuma sighed, gesturing toward the four. They're my friends who decided to register as adventurers, using my money, he grumbled, crossing his arms. Satria placed a reassuring hand on Kazuma's shoulder. Don't worry, Kazuma, your generosity will not go unnoticed. Truly, you're a noble man of great honor. Yet, a noble man who's going to be broke if you don't pay me back after this mission, Kazuma shot back, glaring at them. Peter scratched the back of his neck sheepishly. Sorry about that, Kazuma. I swear I'll pay you back as soon as I can. Kazuma gave him a deadpan look. You're Spider-Man, not Money Man. I'm not holding my breath. Kurumi giggled lightly at the banter. It's really kind of you, Kazuma-san. We'll make sure to repay your kindness. Kindness, hey. Kazuma muttered. More like I'm being scammed. Anyway, let's get this over with. Luna clapped her hands, drawing the group's attention. All right, welcome to the Adventurers Guild. Here, we'll set up your adventurer cards, which will keep track of your stats, skills, and achievements. As you defeat monsters, you'll earn points that can be used to learn new skills. Please work hard to raise your levels. She gestured to a glowing crystal orb resting on a pedestal. Now, one at a time, place your hand over the crystal, and it will reveal your stats and potential occupation. Let's start with you. Peter stepped forward. All right, I'll go first. He placed his hand on the crystal, which began to glow brightly. Luna's eyes widened as she read the information on Peter's adventurer card. Wow, your stats are exceptional. Strength, agility, reflexes, you're almost superhuman. But... She hesitated, biting her lip. But what? Peter leaned in, hopeful. Your luck is, well, it's not your strong suit. Luna tried to phrase it diplomatically. Peter immediately slumped, placing a hand over his face. Of course, my luck is trash. Why am I not surprised? Luna smiled nervously, trying to lighten the mood. But don't worry, luck isn't everything in adventuring. And your most suitable class is Darkstalker. It's a perfect match for someone with your incredible abilities. You'll excel in stealth, reconnaissance, and combat in the shadows. Peter blinked. Darkstalker? That actually sounds kind of cool. Satria crossed his arms, grinning. See? You're practically a ninja now. That's way cooler than worrying about luck. Kurumi stepped forward next, her crimson eye gleaming with curiosity. My turn, she said, her voice dripping with intrigue. With a graceful motion, she placed her hand on the crystal, and the orb pulsed with an eerie black and red glow, casting an unsettling light around the room. Luna froze for a moment, her eyes wide as she watched the crystal react to Kurumi's touch. Your stats are extraordinary, but a little unsettling, Luna muttered, glancing between the screen and Kurumi. It says your most suitable class is Dark Archmage. Kurumi raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the mention of such a title. Dark Archmage. She tilted her head slightly, her smile curling into something both charming and ominous. What does that job entail? Luna blinked, clearly a little taken aback by Kurumi's nonchalant demeanor. A Dark Archmage is a master of forbidden and powerful magic, someone who controls dark, destructive forces, and bends shadows, curses, and necromantic energies to their will. You'd have control over life and death, with immense spell-casting power, as well as the ability to manipulate spirits and even cause fear or madness in your enemies. Kurumi's smile deepened, her crimson eye gleaming more brightly. How fascinating! It seems the role suits me quite well, doesn't it? She chuckled softly, the sound both seductive and chilling. It seems I'll be a force to be reckoned with, after all. Luna, still adjusting to the overwhelming aura Kurumi exuded, nodded shakily. Why yes. Definitely. She quickly moved to the next person, trying to shake off the unsettling feeling that lingered in the air. Amelia stepped forward next, her expression gentle yet full of determination. She placed her hand on the crystal, and the orb immediately reacted, glowing with a brilliant white light that bathed the room in a calming warmth, almost as if the crystal itself was blessed by the sun. Luna's eyes widened with admiration as she examined the results. Your stats are incredibly well balanced, she said, her voice filled with awe. You have an extraordinary aptitude for magic and healing. Your most suitable class is Holy Priest. You'll be an invaluable support for any party. It's even stronger than Archpriest. Amelia smiled warmly, grateful for the recognition. I'm happy to be of help, she said softly, her voice filled with sincerity and kindness. However, Aqua, who had been watching the proceedings with interest, couldn't help but frown in disbelief. She huffed, her arms crossed. Hey! What does she have that I don't have? She demanded, clearly annoyed. Kazuma, leaning casually against the wall with a sarcastic grin, couldn't resist teasing. Intelligence, kindness, and grace, maybe, he shot back, raising an eyebrow. Aqua's face turned red as she spluttered, What do you mean by that, hickey neat? I'm plenty graceful and smart. Kazuma, smirking, didn't let up. Right, Aqua? Sure, you are. Amelia, still smiling, gave Aqua a gentle nod. There's no need to worry, Aqua. You're great in your own way. Aqua fumed but couldn't help the tiny smile that tugged at her lips, as if Amelia's kindness disarmed her irritation, if only for a moment. Luna looked between the two, a little amused by the dynamic. In any case, Holy priests are extremely powerful when it comes to healing magic and protection spells. You'll be a great asset to any party, Amelia. Amelia's eyes sparkled with excitement. I'll do my best to help everyone, she said with a renewed sense of purpose. Finally, it was Satria's turn. He stepped up confidently, a sly grin on his face. Now, watch closely, everyone. Witness the power of the one and only Golden Emperor. Megumin's eyes lit up with competitive fire. Ha! Let's see if your so-called Golden Emperor stats can even match mine, a true master of explosion magic. As Satria placed his hand on the crystal, it emitted a dazzling golden light, brighter and more intense than any of the previous displays. The glow was so intense that it temporarily blinded everyone in the room. As the light from the crystal faded, Luna stared at Satria's adventurer card, her eyes widening in utter disbelief. Your stats are off the charts, she muttered, her voice tinged with awe. Every single one is beyond anything I've ever seen. You're suitable for numerous roles. Luna continued, her voice rising as she read further: Dragon Sage, Chronomancer, Void Walker, Spirit Caller, Heavenly Tamer, Eldritch Disciple, Celestial Architect, Astral Nomad, Astral Knight, and many more. The possibilities are endless. Everyone in the guild who had been casually watching the process suddenly went silent, their eyes locking on Satria in sheer amazement. They were all stunned by the sheer magnitude of his potential. It was as if he was meant for greatness in every imaginable way. Wow, Kazuma muttered, crossing his arms. You're basically being handed cheat codes. Satria, however, seemed unfazed. A mischievous smirk crossed his face as he calmly turned to Luna. I'll go with Heavenly Tamer, he said, nonchalantly. There was a long pause, and then the entire guild collectively froze, staring at him in absolute confusion. It was as if they couldn't comprehend his choice. Did he just say Tamer? Peter blinked, his eyes wide in disbelief. Kurumi tilted her head, slightly baffled. With all those options, he chose Tamer. Kazuma, who had been trying to stay calm up until that point, exploded. Are you stupid? He yelled, pointing an accusatory finger at Satria. You have all these amazing options, and you choose Tamer. Are you seriously going to limit yourself to just taming animals? Amelia, looking both surprised and slightly confused, couldn't help but mutter, but maybe he likes animals. Luna, who was still holding the card, could only stare in disbelief. I don't understand. You could have chosen so much more. She trailed off, utterly perplexed by Satria's decision. Satria shrugged nonchalantly, the smirk never leaving his face. Well, I want to have some cool nakama, and besides, when I was back in my homeland, I joined an animal lovers group. I've always loved animals. So, Tamer it is. At his explanation, the entire guild couldn't help but face-palm, some of them even face-planting to the floor in utter defeat. Peter, still recovering from the shock, muttered, I think this is going to be a very weird adventure. Satria, undeterred by the chaos his choice had caused, continued to smile confidently. Don't worry, I'll make sure my nakama is cool. I'm going to be the greatest tamer the world has ever seen. Kazuma slapped his face with both hands in frustration. I can't believe this. The guild continued to stare at Satria, a mix of disbelief, confusion, and sheer exhaustion on their faces. The tension in the air was palpable. Kurumi sighed, amused. Well, I guess we'll see how that works out. Just as the confusion from Satria's choice of class began to settle, a loud rumbling noise echoed from the distance. The ground trembled slightly, and the sound grew louder, as if an army was on the move. Kazuma squinted. What the hell is that noise? Suddenly, from outside the wall, a horde of flying cabbages appeared, soaring through the air like a swarm of bees. Their green leaves fluttered like wings as they charged toward the group, moving in a chaotic, yet somehow organized, manner. Luna stared at the scene, her eyes widening. The flying cabbages. They're here. Everyone, get ready to catch them, she shouted, trying to maintain some semblance of order. Peter, his face lit with determination, swung into action. He leapt into the air with enhanced agility and, using his spider-like powers, began webbing up the flying cabbages mid-air, catching them effortlessly and adding them to his makeshift cabbage cage. Kurumi, her crimson eye gleaming with malice and excitement, raised her hands. Let's see how they like this. She conjured a swirling vortex of dark magic, sending blasts of shadowy energy that knocked several of the flying cabbages out of the sky, where they plummeted to the ground. Amelia, with her warm, radiant aura, raised her hands high. Holy light! She cast a radiant spell, creating beams of holy light that gently guided the flying cabbages down to the ground, softening their landings and preventing them from escaping. Kazuma, who had yet to fully process what was going on, gritted his teeth and quickly threw his hands up. All right, fine. If you can't beat them, join them. He began swinging his sword wildly, cutting through a few cabbages with ease, though he wasn't nearly as graceful as the others. He grumbled under his breath. This is stupid, but I'm not going to lose to a bunch of flying vegetables. As the group continued to chase and capture the flying cabbages, Satria suddenly stopped moving, standing still with a confident smirk. Everyone froze, curious about what he was up to. Kazuma, panting and holding a half-shredded cabbage, frowned. Hey, what are you doing just standing there? Don't tell me you've given up already. Ignoring him, Satria raised his hand dramatically, his golden aura shimmering like sunlight piercing through clouds. Behold! My awesomeness! A low hum resonated in the air as his skill activated. The flying cabbages, which had been flitting about wildly, suddenly froze mid-flight. One by one, they turned and floated toward Satria as if hypnotized. Within moments, they began orbiting around him in a graceful spiral, their green leaves glowing faintly as they revolved like planets around the sun. What the? Peter muttered, dangling from a web in disbelief. Is he taming them? Kurumi narrowed her eyes, a sly smile playing on her lips. Phew. This is unexpected. He's actually commanding them like loyal servants. Even Amelia, who had been channeling her holy light, stood in awe. He's not just catching them. He's befriending them? This is incredible. Kazuma, meanwhile, fell to his knees, his cabbage clattering to the ground. What kind of ridiculous cheat is this? How is he doing that? Satria's grin widened as he struck a flamboyant pose, raising one arm high into the air while the other rested on his hip, mimicking a famous pose from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The cabbages swirled faster around him, creating a vortex of green that only added to his dramatic flair. Rejoice, my leafy comrades! Satria declared, his voice dripping with theatrical bravado. For I, the Golden Emperor, have graced you with my benevolent presence. Together, we shall find peace. The entire guild fell silent, save for the sound of the cabbages softly whooshing around him. Then, chaos erupted. Is he serious? Kazuma screamed, clutching his head. Peter face-palmed. I don't even know how to respond to this. Aqua pointed a finger at Satria, her face red with frustration. That's not fair. That's just showing off. Darkness, however, clapped her hands in admiration. What elegance! What dominance! Truly befitting of a conqueror. Megumin, not wanting to be outdone, pointed her staff at Satria. Humph! Don't think you're the only one who can create a spectacle. I'll show you the ultimate move of the Crimson Demon clan. Before Megumin could unleash her explosion, Luna stepped in, frantically waving her hands. Wait! No explosions in the town, please. Satria, still maintaining his pose, let out a deep, exaggerated laugh. Wahahaha! Do not despair, my friends. It is not I who am extraordinary, it is the cabbages who recognize my greatness. Kurumi chuckled, tilting her head. He's either a genius or a fool. Perhaps both. Amelia giggled softly, her usual kind demeanor shining through. At least it's entertaining. As the cabbages finally came to rest around Satria in an orderly pile, he straightened up and gave the group a thumbs up. And that, my friends, is how you tame flying cabbages with style. Satria looked at his swirling cabbage entourage with a childlike pout, holding his hands to his chest. But I already named them. How can you guys eat them? They're my cute little lotus and cabbage friends, he exclaimed, his voice tinged with exaggerated innocence as he dramatically looked to Kurumi for support. Kurumi, slightly embarrassed, grabbed Satria by the collar and pulled him aside. Sorry, everyone, she apologized to the group, her usual calm demeanor faltering a bit. He can get a little carried away. Satria, however, wasn't done yet. He stood tall and crossed his arms, his face flushed with indignation. You guys are monsters, he continued, dramatically pointing at Kazuma and the others. How could you just eat them like that? They have feelings too. Look at their little faces. He pointed at the cabbages as if they were innocent creatures pleading for mercy. Kazuma, clearly losing his patience, smirked and crossed his arms. They're lotus and cabbage, dumbass. They're grown to be eaten, that's their purpose in life. Suddenly, before Satria could launch into another dramatic monologue, a familiar ding sound filled the air, followed by a flashing notification in their dimensional chat. __. Mission success, giving special prize to @Shin. _. Everyone paused, looking around in confusion. The chat seemed to be giving a prize, but none of them had completed a mission that warranted a reward until they noticed something materializing in front of Satria. It shimmered and glowed, taking shape until it became a golden, intricately designed magic lamp. Satria blinked, utterly dumbfounded. A magic lamp? What's this? Did I just get a genie or something? Satria reached out cautiously, taking the magic lamp in his hands. It was cool to the touch, and he could feel a strange power emanating from it. He smirked, a mischievous gleam in his eye. What should I wish for first? He muttered, turning the lamp over in his hands, half expecting something to pop out. Kurumi raised an eyebrow, crossing her arms. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll waste your wish on something stupid. Hey! I'm not stupid! Satria protested, his face flushing with embarrassment at the teasing. The golden lamp began to glow brighter as a swirl of smoke poured from the spout. The air shimmered, and with a burst of light, a beautiful female genie appeared before the group. She had long, flowing blue hair, sharp features, and an aura of elegance that made her seem almost otherworldly. She wore flowing robes adorned with intricate golden designs, and her eyes glimmered with ancient power. Greetings, Master, she said, her voice smooth and melodic, carrying a hint of authority. I am the genie of the lamp. You have released me, and in turn, I will grant you 3 wishes. Choose wisely. Satria's eyes gleamed with excitement as he eagerly jumped forward, a wide grin spreading across his face. I wish for unlimited wishes, he declared with enthusiasm. The genie's smile faltered slightly, her eyes narrowing in an almost imperceptible way. That is not permitted, she said, her tone still respectful but with a touch of finality. Death, love, and the granting of more wishes are prohibited. Satria's expression dropped, but before he could protest, Aqua piped up from behind him, eyes sparkling with excitement. I wish for high class, very expensive booze. Aqua exclaimed, her tone full of childish glee as she crossed her arms, looking satisfied with her request. The genie didn't flinch, merely nodded. Your wish is granted. In an instant, an array of crystal-clear bottles filled with luxurious, golden liquor appeared before Aqua. The bottles sparkled with an otherworldly glow, their labels written in an elegant script that screamed premium. Aqua gasped in delight, but her satisfaction was short-lived as Satria and Kazuma turned to her, both scowling. "Are you serious?" Satria groaned, his face contorted in disbelief. "You wasted one of my 3 wishes on booze." Kazuma, rubbing his temples in frustration, added, "You stupid and useless goddess. Of all the things you could wish for, booze." Aqua blinked, her grin slowly fading. But I wanted it," she whined, trying to defend herself. Satria, still visibly upset, turned his attention back to the genie, who was patiently waiting. An idea sparked in his mind, and he smirked. "All right then, if I can't have unlimited wishes, I have a better idea." He crossed his arms, his eyes glinting mischievously. "I wish to turn Kazuma into a Chinese-speaking beaver." The genie raised an eyebrow, clearly taken aback, but nodded. "As you wish." In a flash, Kazuma was enveloped in a strange light. When the light faded, the group stared in shock. Kazuma, now standing on all fours, had transformed into a fluffy, beaver-like creature, his tiny paws clutching the ground. His eyes were filled with indignation, but the real shock came when he opened his mouth and began to speak. "Ni hao. Wo shi. Ka. Ka, cow." Kazuma spluttered, his voice a strange, squeaky combination of Chinese and beaver-like chatter. His attempts at swearing were now unintelligible, leaving the group in a fit of laughter. Satria, Megaman and Aqua laughed hysterically, clutching their stomachs in amusement. Kurumi smirked, her crimson eyes glowing with amusement, while even Amelia, Peter and the genie seemed to hold back a smile, though she was clearly trying to maintain her composure. "Fatalis, ha 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 ha. Oh, Satria, you truly are a treasure. You're far more amusing than I imagined." Kazuma, now a beaver, was furiously gesturing and speaking in rapid Chinese, clearly protesting his new form and the absurdity of it all. "Zhen shi buletin xing," he squeaked out, his words a combination of angry Chinese and the unintelligible squeals of a beaver. Aqua was practically crying with laughter, wiping tears from her eyes. "Oh my gosh, this is priceless," she shouted between giggles. "Kazuma, you look so cute and stupid." Satria, grinning ear to ear, wiped a tear from his own eye. "I never thought I'd see the day when Kazuma would be reduced to a Chinese-speaking beaver," he chuckled, still shaking with laughter. Even the genie let out a small chuckle, though she quickly composed herself. "I suppose that is a unique request," she remarked, shaking her head with a bemused smile. As the laughter subsided and the absurdity of the situation settled in, Satria turned to the genie, prepared to make his next wish. He was about to open his mouth when suddenly, a furious voice interrupted him. "Turn me back, you bastard!" Kazuma shouted, his tiny beaver form now furiously waddling toward Satria. His beaver tail slapped against the ground in frustration, and he chattered angrily in Chinese, though it was mostly unintelligible. "You idiot! I'll get you for this!" Satria rolled his eyes, already expecting this. "Oh, calm down, Kazuma. You're just a beaver now. And I don't understand Chinese except for sing kong." Before Satria could make his next wish, Amelia, who had been watching the chaotic scene unfold with a slightly confused but concerned expression, stepped forward. "Excuse me, Genie," she said, her voice sweet and gentle. "Could you turn Kazuma back to his human form, please?" The genie nodded graciously, her golden eyes softening as she acknowledged Amelia's request. "As you wish." The instant the words left the genie's lips, a flash of light enveloped Kazuma's small beaver body, and when it faded, he was standing there once more, his usual human form returned. His clothes were a bit disheveled, but he was very much himself again. Kazuma blinked in shock, then immediately collapsed onto the ground, tears of relief spilling from his eyes. "I'm human again. Thank you, Amelia," he cried, his voice cracking with emotion. You're an angel. Unlike that stupid goddess and that wannabe emperor. Satria stood frozen, his jaw hanging open in disbelief. He had just been seconds away from making his next wish. He had even planned on tricking the three-wish rule in his favor. But now, his entire plan had been derailed, and he was left sputtering in frustration. No! Satria moaned, clutching his head in dramatic exasperation. Why? Why would you do that, Emilia? I had the perfect plan. You've ruined everything. Kazuma, now back to his usual self, sat up and grinned widely, still wiping away the last of his tears. I don't care about your plans, Shin, he said smugly, his usual sarcastic tone returning. At least I'm back to being a human again. And all thanks to Emilia-san. Emilia smiled softly, happy to have helped. I'm just glad I could do something for you, Kazuma. All wishes have been granted, she declared with a graceful bow. I must now return to my realm. Farewell, masters. Aqua, still sipping her booze, waved dismissively. Relax, Satria. It's just a lamp. You'll get over it. Kazuma crossed his arms, glaring at Satria and Aqua in equal measure. You're both idiots. Seriously, this is why I can't have nice things. So, Kurumi began, her voice smooth and teasing as she broke the silence, is your name Satria, or Shin? Which one is real? He turned to her, seemingly caught off guard. It's Satria. Shin is just my nickname. Why? Kurumi couldn't hold back her laughter, a melodic sound that echoed through the air. You're full of surprises, Satria-kun. Honestly, I thought you'd be all serious and mysterious. But now you're just a big softy with some weird antics. Satria puffed his cheeks, crossing his arms defensively. Oi! I am cool. I just have unique methods, okay? I have a vision for the world. A vision to, make it more exciting and fun, alright. Kurumi smirked, her crimson eye glinting mischievously. You're definitely not what I expected, but that's part of the fun. Besides, you make everything interesting, even if it's a little chaotic. Satria pouted even more, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. I'm still cool, you know. Just because I'm not some stoic, brooding hero doesn't mean I'm not impressive. Kazuma, who had been listening quietly, couldn't resist joining in. Yeah, you're definitely something. Maybe the world's first cool disaster. Shut up, Lolizuma. Satria snapped, throwing a playful punch in his direction. She tilted her head with a soft smile, her tone shifting to something more genuine. But you know, I think that's part of your charm. You don't need to be brooding or mysterious to be interesting. You're fun just the way you are, Satria. His pout softened at her words, though he still muttered under his breath, I'm still cool. Kurumi smiled, leaning back slightly as she continued to watch him. He's definitely not the emperor he pretends to be, but maybe that's why he's so captivating. A man who's both strong and silly. That's something worth keeping an eye on. To be continued.